Chapter 188. Huang Yu came back and saw Shenlin still kneeling in the living room. She looked at his back and felt sorry for him. So, she walked to him and said, "Maybe it's because of our genes. That's why we can't see clearly." Shenlin did not say anything. "It's meaningless for you to kneel here. Go back to your room." Shenlin did not move. Huang Yu took a deep breath and did not try to persuade him anymore. She went back to her room. Although Rong Junhan was hateful, she had always supported Rong Junhan the most. So, at the end of the day, she was no better than her son. "How's the Industrial and Commercial Bureau?" Huang Yu answered quickly when she heard her husband's question. "Don't worry." The Industrial and Commercial Bureau did not accept it. Shin Jinyun nodded. "We're lucky this time. If Muchichi did not help us, things would not have gone so smoothly. We owe her a thank you and an apology." Huang Yu knew it too. She sighed in her heart. No wonder Grandpa Shin dotes on Muchichi. She deserves it. Look at our unfilial son. Forget it. Let's wait and see Rong Junhan's ugly face. She lied to us for so many years. I really want to skin her alive. No matter if Huang Yu dared to skin Rong Junhan or not, she would definitely skin Muchichi alive. She made her father lie in bed for so many years. She must get revenge on Shen Jianchuan no matter what. At night, when Xing Xiao returned home, he saw Muchichi throwing herself at him. He quickly caught the little one, held her round and brought her into the living room. "Why are you so passionate?" Rong Junhan and her daughter were fooled. Muchichi said to Xing Xiao proudly. Xing Xiao smiled and put her on the sofa. Then, he took off his dark blue suit jacket and sat beside her. "Now, I think Chi can do whatever she wants to them. If it's possible, I want her to lie in bed for 8 to 10 years. As for Yu Jing, I heard that she was just like Qianqian's mistress, Bai Xinlan, when she was at the Bureau of Industry and Commerce. She lied to the other party and still thought that she was helping the people. Why are these people's views so strange?" The biggest reason why Xing Xiao loved Muchichi was that no matter what Muchichi went through, she could always remain true to herself. Never distort yourself. Now that he saw Muchichi in high spirits, he could not help but hug his woman and said, "Perhaps, your wish can come true. Turn her into a vegetable?" Xing Xiao laughed and stroked Muchichi's hair. "Don't you mind getting your hands dirty? There's another way." Xiao, I was just joking. Don't take it seriously." She and Rong Junhan were not the same kind of people. "Idiot." Xing Xiao held the little one in his arms and deeply inhaled her scent. However, he smelled something strange. "Why is it so smelly?" I'm going to observe the anatomy class." Then, she looked up and asked, "There will be rotten limbs, organs, maggots in the future. Will you despise me?" "I'll catch you and wash you 10 times a day." Xing Xiao was a bit of a neat freak, but it varied from person to person. If Muchichi smelled bad because of the autopsy, he would not have despised her at all. In fact, he would have felt a little proud. "Look, she's my woman. When your daughter, the rich lady, is shopping, she is doing things that men may not be able to do. Serving society. That was the ultimate value of human existence." Muchichi smiled brightly. Because she knew that even if everyone despised her in this world, Xing Xiao would not. Because he was a man who truly understood life and had a broad vision. As she watched, Muchichi couldn't help but lean forward and give him a kiss. That kiss made Xing Xiao pull her onto his body and straddle her. Soon, they were not satisfied with just kissing. Xing Xiao's eyes darkened with desire. He wanted to bring Muchichi back to the bedroom. But Mu Chichi held him down and said, "Right here, Xing Xiao's voice was hot. It was even a little scorching. I said, "Right here." It was easy to take off the skirt and the underwear. Everything happened in a split second. But Xing Xiao did not move. He was restraining his desire. "Go up and get the condom." "Okay." Mu Chichi nodded. She would not do it easily. Xing Xiao had told her more than once that she should not let any accidents happen until the right time. Because abortion was too harmful to the body. So, they ended it in the bedroom even though it started in the living room. Because Xing Xiao had strong self-control. If a man truly loved a woman, he would think of everything for her. He would not let her get hurt at all. At that moment, Rong Junhan and Yu Jing were having a celebration dinner at home. It was Rong Junhan and Yu Jing's proudest achievement that they managed to get Shen Jinyan's companies. Cheers, cheers, the three of them were proud of themselves, especially Yu Jing. "Mom, can we carry out our new plan now? Let Shenlin leave the family with nothing. Did you take any pictures when you were abroad? Did you do what I asked you to do?" "Of course." Yu Jing took out her phone and smiled happily. "I invited a few foreign women to lie beside him naked. He even hugged one of them and slept with her for the whole night." "Did they have sex?" "I've drugged him so strongly." "Of course it happened. The evidence is in my phone." After saying that, Yu Jing put her phone back to where it was. "Well done. It would be perfect if this foreign woman could get pregnant." But it was a pity that the mother and daughter had made their plans too early. A few days later, when Yu Jing called the Bureau of Industry and Commerce to ask why the new license had not been issued, she would know that the Shen family's company was not something that she could take over as she pleased. At that time, her expression would be interesting. It was late at night. Shenlin was still kneeling in the living room. Grandpa Shen could not stand it anymore. He walked to his grandson and pulled him up. Then, he put him on the chair. "I'm a man of the Shen family. Just admit your mistake. I've forgiven your eldest uncle even though he had done so many bad things in the past. Are you a sore loser?" Shenlin raised his head and looked at Grandpa Shen. His throat felt hot. "Grandpa, what else can I do?" Chapter 189. "But Grandpa, what will happen after that?" Shenlin's tears flowed down from the corner of his eyes. "Yu Jing said that I'm a useless person. She looks down on me. Actually, I look down on myself too. If you really want to train yourself, go and join the army." Grandpa Shen patted Shenlin's shoulder and said, "Show me that you can become a good man." "All right." Shenlin nodded. Grandpa Shen's words had helped him find a new direction. "Also, the company is still in your hands." Rong and her daughter did not succeed at all. "What?" Shenlin was confused. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Grandpa Shen. But Grandpa Shen smiled and explained, "It's Chi-Chi. She made the arrangements in advance. She colluded with the people from the Industry and Commerce Bureau and lied to Yu Jing. Actually, your application to change the legal person was not accepted. You misunderstood Chi-Chi. Apologize to her later. Why did she help you so much?" Shenlin's tears flowed down even more when he heard that. "Chi-Chi is only 18. Yes. She could come up with such an idea at 18. What about you?" Shenlin wiped his tears and mustered up his courage again. "Grandpa, don't worry. I've disappointed you in the past. I won't do it again." Grandpa Shen nodded and comforted him. "Go to sleep. It's not too late to make amends." So, the next morning, Shenlin and Huang Yu went to the Industry and Commerce Bureau again to change the legal person. This time, he was very serious and did not hesitate. Mom, you're right. I've relied on the Shin family for everything for so many years. I've done a lot of things to let you down. From now on, I'll rely on my own ability and be filial to you. For Huang Yu to be able to see this scene, she was already very gratified. As long as you're sensible. Mom, come with me to the police station again. Huang Yu nodded and accompanied Shenlin to the police station to report the case. She told the police everything. The police gave Shenlin a suggestion based on his situation. Fortunately, your family is smart. They prevented you from losing any assets. But, because of your situation, the police can only mediate between the two of you and help you get a divorce. Can't she be sentenced? The police shook their heads. The law in this country is not perfect yet. So, it's hard to hold her responsible. No matter what, calling the police is always the smartest thing to do. Shenlin was very disappointed. He really hoped that the mother and daughter would receive the punishment they deserved. After all, they had cheated him of his feelings. Would it end just like that? Huang Yu saw his unwillingness and quickly said to him, "There's no hurry. Let's go back and discuss. We'll definitely send that mother and daughter to the 18th level of hell. Mom, after a few days, when I'm better, can you invite Chi-Chi over? I would like to sincerely apologize." Seeing that her son was really sensible, Huang Yu smiled and said, "Okay, Mom will help you. Also, after this matter is settled, I want to join the army while I'm still young. Mom supports you too." This was because Huang Yu knew very well that Shenlin could only gain a strong willpower by going to the army. Only then would he be able to forget his sorrows faster. For the next few days, Shenlin was adjusting his condition. Huang Yu also called Mu Chi-Chi and asked her to have dinner at Shen Mansion on Friday. Thinking about what happened to Shenlin, Mu Chi-Chi could not blame him for his arrogant attitude. So, she agreed to Huang Yu's request. As for the police, they were still investigating the matter. Moreover, they could not contact Yu Jing. So, they could not find her. However, Yu Jing was very concerned about the new legal person license. When the 5 working days were up, she immediately called the Bureau of Industry and Commerce to ask if the license was ready. But the Bureau of Industry and Commerce could not find any information about her. "I'm sorry, Miss Yu. The computer does not have the information you provided. It's impossible. My husband and I came to the Bureau of Industry and Commerce to complete the transfer 5 days ago. I've checked several times. It's really not available. I'm sorry. You can ask your husband. What's with your attitude? Be careful or I'll file a complaint against you. If you can't find anything, then you can. Feel free to file a complaint." After that, the person hung up the phone. Yu Jing did not give up. She called again. But the person who answered the phone still gave the same answer. Yu Jing panicked. She called Rong Junhan immediately. When Rong Junhan knew about it, she brought Yu Jing to the Bureau of Industry and Commerce personally. But, not to mention the documents, even the staff who handled the registration that day was gone. The people in the Bureau of Industry and Commerce looked at the mother and daughter strangely. Yu Jing finally felt that something was wrong. She said to Rong Junhan angrily, "Mom, it's a scam. Are you saying that we've been deceived by the Shen family? It's possible. Otherwise, how can we explain this?" Rong Junhan thought for a while and nodded. "Bring your video. Let's go to the Shen family." The mother and daughter were very angry. How could they forget that they were liars? They even wanted to go to the Shen family and cause trouble. Yu Jing called Shenlin first. But Shenlin had already changed his number. Bastard! How dare you do this to me? Let's go to the Shin family directly. Rong Junhan was quite arrogant. Because Yu Jing still had the evidence of Shin Lin's trouble. Even if they were going to divorce in the future, she was confident that she could make Shin Lin leave the Shin family with nothing. So, Shin Lin's company would still be given to Yu Jing. But, she did not expect that Shin Lin would transfer the company to Shin Jinyun the next day. In other words, Shin Lin was just a poor man now. The Shin family did not expect that the mother and daughter from the Rong family would be so shameless. How dare they come to the Shin family? Huang Yu was the first to tremble in anger. But, Grandpa Shin was very calm. He immediately called Xiao Qi and asked her to go to the Shin family since she had no classes in the afternoon. Then, the Shin family did not let the mother and daughter from the Rong family enter the house immediately. They asked them to wait outside the door. After a while, they let them in. Rong Junhan knew that the Shin family liked this kind of trick. So, she smiled when she saw the Shin family. I never expected that you're so stingy. Your son said that he would give the company to my daughter. But, why do you have to put on a show in front of us when it's time to transfer the company? I'm giving you a taste of your own medicine. So, you and your daughter are allowed to lie to us. Grandpa Shin snorted. You've been humiliated in the Industrial and Commercial Bureau, haven't you? My meticulous plan was guarded against by all of you. It can be said that the Shin family is very powerful. But can you make a guess? What else can my daughter use to blackmail Shin Lin? Rong Junhan sat down on the chair elegantly. Her demeanor made people want to slap her face. I think you've come up with a new trick after you failed to cheat the company. It was Mu Chi-Chi who said that. It was because Xingting University was not far from the Shin family. So, Mu Chi-Chi came in time to watch the show. Whether it's a new trick or not, we'll know after we watch the video. Then, Rong Junhan took out her phone. But Mu Chi-Chi stopped her from taking it back. Madam Rong, please listen to me before you play the video. You have to think carefully. The person you are trying to blackmail is penniless. Rong Junhan looked at Mu Chi-Chi. Chapter 190. The company is still here. Who are you trying to fool? Company. Are you still thinking about other people's company? Of course, they have changed the legal person. Are they waiting for you to snatch it? Mu Chi-Chi walked in front of everyone and smiled at Rong Junhan calmly. I have changed the legal person to me. You can come and ask me for it if you are capable. You. Rong Junhan almost lost control of her emotions when she heard that. But, she smiled when she thought about it. So, what's the difference between you and me? Aren't we doing this for the Shin family's things? I'm sorry. There is still a difference. If I ask, second uncle and second aunt will definitely give it to me. Am I right? Second uncle and second aunt. Of course. Chi-Chi, you are a member of the Shin family. You are different from those bitches outside. What belongs to second uncle and second aunt is also yours. Huang Yu immediately added. Moreover, you don't need it at all. You have the Xing family behind you. Even if you want the stars in the sky, there will be people who will give it to you. You are not like some people who have been plotting for more than 10 years. After Huang Yu said that, Mu Chi-Chi looked at Rong Junhan again. But this time, her gaze was sharper. She was not like an 18-year-old girl at all. So, do you still want to expose the things in your phone? Let me remind you that you and Yu Jing can never take a single cent from the Shin family. Rong Junhan's face darkened. Because Shin Lin was poor now. But, even if she could not get anything from Shin Lin, she could still blackmail Huang Yu and her husband. Rong Junhan calmed down when she thought about that. You can take away Shin Lin's company. But, you don't even want your son's reputation. The video in my hand can prove that Shenlin cheated after his marriage. He slept with another woman outside. If this video is spread out, will the Shen family still have any dignity? But, Rong Junhan's words did not scare Muchichi. Shenlin loves Yu Jing so much. How could he cheat on her? If you can really take a video, then it must be Yu Jing who set you up. You mother and daughter, one of you hit my father with a car and caused him to be in a vegetative state. The other one cheated Shenlin into a marriage and caused him to be hurt physically and mentally. What you have done are all dishonest things. Take the video and spread it. Let's see if anyone will still believe you. Do you want me to be a good person to the end and help you? Muchichi, you're really eloquent. Rong Junhan did not have the strength to defend herself. She could only pretend to scoff coldly. Oh yes, Shenlin had reported to the police a few days ago. Don't you know that the police are looking for you? Yu Jing. You said that Shenlin is worthless in your eyes. He's not even a man. In my eyes, you're not even human if you lie to such a man. Yu Jing's face darkened. Muchichi, I know I can't win you in an argument, but don't be so arrogant. I'm arrogant. What can you do to me? After all, I'm the real granddaughter of the Shen family, and I have the Xing family behind me. Can you afford to offend me? Who are you? Illegitimate daughter. Bastard. Liar. Or a slut. You? Seeing that both mother and daughter were speechless, Muchichi laughed even more happily. She turned to look at Grandpa Xing. Grandpa, you've seen enough, haven't you? Hurry up. Ask your old friends to come out and settle your grandson's matter. Can you bear to see this shameless mother and daughter riding on your grandson's head? You silly girl, I've already sent someone to investigate this matter. If this mother and daughter have any criminal records, they'll be found out. Moreover, I know how Yu Jing's father, the painter, has been hyping up his paintings all these years and how he played tricks. Rong Junhan's face suddenly turned pale when she mentioned the criminal records. Of course, Yu Jing was not any better. Both mother and daughter had done some things that were out of line. If they were found out, the consequences would be unimaginable. I really did not expect that the Shen family is not only ungrateful, but also distort the truth. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Xiao Jing, let's go. Rong Junhan stood up and wanted to leave. But her unusual action reminded Muchichi. Grandpa, investigate further. Do your best. You bad thing. The old man pointed at Muchichi and laughed out loud. Are you in a hurry to leave? Don't you want to play the video anymore? Don't you want to blackmail me? You're crazy. I don't want to talk to you. Then, Rong Junhan left with Yu Jing. However, when the two of them walked out of the Shen family's gate, Muchichi said, Yu Jing, I hate it when people cheat their feelings and think that they are so great. Today, you hurt the person who loves you the most in the world. You will regret it if you miss him. It's the saddest thing to pay for a relationship. You can imagine what will happen to you. Yu Jing turned and looked at Muchichi. Then, Rong Junhan dragged her out of the Shen family. Obviously, Rong Junhan and her daughter had made a wasted trip. Not only did they make a wasted trip, but they also lost all their bargaining chips. Now, it was impossible for them to threaten the Shen family and get any benefits from them. They might even threaten their own interests. Because soon, the police contacted Yu Jing again. I didn't expect that bastard Shenlin would really call the police. Don't worry. No one will dare to do anything to you. Just go. Rong Junhan was trembling with anger. It's all because of that bitch Muchichi. If not, we would have gotten the Shen family's company. Rong Junhan almost broke the wooden table in front of her. She was so angry. Now, the Shen family had the upper hand. She had no chance to fight back. What was more terrible was yet to come. But she could not imagine it. Was Shen Jianchuan so easy to bully? Although he had been lying in bed for more than 10 years, he had already woken up. This debt, as well as the debt of causing Su Ziqing to misunderstand him in the past, was he not going to settle it with her? Although Shen Lin was not smart enough to plot against Yu Jing, Mu Qiqi was smart enough. And Xing Xiao, who was behind Mu Qiqi, was even more outrageous. He could trample on that bitch anytime. Seeing Rong Junhan and her daughter leaving in defeat, Huang Yu felt very happy. Dad, Qiqi, I've never seen Rong Junhan leave like that. It's so satisfying. You've even shown the video. It seems that Rong Junhan has no other trump card. Mu Qiqi walked to Grandpa Shen and sat beside him. Grandpa, we should strike while the iron is hot. It's not easy to find anything wrong with Rong Junhan and her daughter. So, we can start from Yu Jing's father. Chapter 191. Grandpa Shen tilted his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. Who taught you all these? What's wrong with me? Mu Qiqi purposely avoided Grandpa Shen's question. If it's not because of your father or Xing Xiao, he's a vicious and evil person. Grandpa Shen pointed at Mu Qiqi and scolded her. I'm influenced by what I see and hear. Jing Yun would sometimes tell me about Xing, that's why I could more or less learn from him. Mu Qiqi really could not bring herself to call him Uncle Xing, and so simply skipped it. Father, what's wrong with being like Mu Qiqi? She's smart. She won't suffer. It's bad for us. Huang Yu said. Then, she turned to Mu Qiqi. She looked guilty and grateful at the same time. Qiqi, it's all my fault in the past. I apologize to you. I hope you won't hold a grudge against me. Forget it. Although I'm not a generous person, you're not evil. You're just deceived by others. Shen Lin wanted to apologize to you a long time ago. I'll go and find him now. Then, Huang Yu went to Shen Lin's room. But, Mu Qiqi pouted. Grandpa, I still have classes. I'll go back to school first. I might not accept his apology. Actually, Shen Lin was hiding in the dark. He was already there when Rong Junhan and Rong Junhan entered the Shen family. He was upset when he saw Mu Qiqi defeating Rong Junhan like a god of war. Because he knew that he was not as good as an 18-year-old girl. So, he did not dare to show up in front of Mu Qiqi. Then, he hired a lawyer to prepare the divorce agreement. Then, he asked Yu Jing for compensation. He wanted Yu Jing to compensate him for his emotional loss. Even Mu Qiqi knew that she could not give in to her family. How could he continue to be a coward? The lawyer arrived at the Yu family the next day. He told Yu Jing about Shen Lin's request. Yu Jing jumped up from her chair after she heard it. Is he crazy? I haven't asked him to compensate me for the loss of my youth. Miss Yu, it depends on the judge's judgment. If it's true, Mr. Shen Lin has the right to ask you for compensation. Get lost, then, Miss Yu, we'll see each other in court. That was when Mu Qiqi heard about the interesting matter in the afternoon. She sighed in her heart. Shen Lin finally knew how to fight back. Perhaps he was the same as her in the past. As long as he took this step, he would have a brand new life. 2 days later, Rong Junhan's dance school was smashed. No one knew exactly why and who did it. Many people guessed that it was the Shen family or Shen Lin. But Mu Qiqi knew that if Shen Lin was capable, he would not have endured until now. That was why she told Xing Xiao about her doubts when she got home, hoping that he could clear them up. Xing Xiao merely smiled at that. Don't you have a suitable candidate in mind? It's not Grandpa or Shinlin. Second uncle and second aunt wouldn't do such a thing. Third uncle and third aunt have nothing to do with this. So, could it be him? Mu Chi-Chi counted with her fingers and asked Xing Xiao for an answer. You already have the answer. Why are you asking me? Xing Xiao asked her playfully, don't you know that he used to be a vengeful person? Mu Chi-Chi felt that it made sense and nodded. But he can't even say a complete sentence now. That's not important, as long as there's money. Rong Junhan owed Shen Jianchuan so much. If he did not seize the chance to get her back, he would feel sorry for himself. If that's the case, then my dad is too cool. Compared to me. Of course you're cooler. After all, he is an old man. Mu Chi-Chi sat on Xing Xiao's lap. Xiao Xiao, are you jealous? Xing Xiao was absent-minded for a moment as he held Mu Chi-Chi's butt. Then, he answered her seriously, it's because your father is smart that he understood you so easily. And it's also because he's smart that I'm afraid we won't be able to keep our relationship a secret after he recovers. What kind of result do you want? Mu Chi-Chi asked Xing Xiao because she did not know what she needed to do. She did not know how high the standards of the Xing family were. Moreover, she did not know whether Shen Jianchuan would agree or disagree. Xing Xiao remained silent for a few seconds. Then, he carried Mu Chi-Chi. I'm not worried that your father will disagree. I'm worried that he will challenge me. Are you afraid of him? Xing Xiao laughed and touched Mu Chi-Chi's nose. You're right. He is an old man after all. Shen Jianchuan was obviously a slave to his daughter. But he did not have a bottom line. After all, Xing Xiao and Mu Chi-Chi were in different generations. Moreover, Shen Jianchuan knew what kind of place the Xing family was. He wanted his daughter to be free. Of course, he had to find out about it first. Xing Xiao and Mu Chi-Chi guessed that the person was Shen Jianchuan. Destroying Rong Junhan's dance school was just the first step. The painter named Yu was just fishing for fame. He did not have any real talent at all. All his fame came from Rong Junhan's money. So, it would be easy to destroy him. So, it was just a piece of cake. Although Shen Jianchuan was lying on the bed all day, the nurses told him all the gossip. Moreover, Grandpa Shen investigated them. So, Shen Jianchuan could find a way to deal with them. Grandpa Shen also guessed that it was his eldest brother. So, he pretended to ask him when the Shins were not around. Did you ask someone to destroy the school? I can't move at all now. Are you lying to me? You still have your friends. What can't you do as long as you can get in touch with them? Grandpa Shen winked at him. Why haven't you changed after so many years? Shen Jianchuan did not deny it. There was nothing to hide in front of his father. He could only answer Grandpa Shen slowly. I have been sick for more than 10 years. I have lost more than 10 years of youth. Let alone destroying a school, this is just the beginning. Rong Junhan owes me. She must pay me back. Grandpa Shen nodded. Chi-Chi and I will not care about your revenge. Don't drag your daughter into this. I won't let Chi-Chi know. How can Chi-Chi not know? That girl is just like you. She is very smart. Grandpa Shen snorted. But there was a hint of satisfaction in his snort. She must be smart. Otherwise, she would be bullied. Rong Junhan was the most furious one now. Her years of hard work had been destroyed. She did not know how much she would lose. She guessed that it was the Shen family. But she could not guess which Shen it was. The most likely one was Mu Chi-Chi. But she felt that it was not Mu Chi-Chi's style. It was like Shen Jianchuan in his early years. Chapter 192. Not only Rong Junhan's dance school, but Papa Yu's art gallery was also affected. The news of Yu Jing's deceitful marriage was plastered all over the Yu family's house. It made people understand why Rong Junhan's dance school was destroyed and Papa Yu's art gallery was destroyed. It was all because Yu Jing cheated people's feelings and money. Rong Junhan and her family were very angry. But they could not find out who did it. They did not know what kind of tricks they had up their sleeves. Yu Jing had to wear a hat and a mask when she went out these 2 days. Because the people around her were all pointing at her and avoiding her. Look, it's that bad auntie. We are not going to school here today, it's that little B*TCH again. I heard that she cheated a rich young master and made him bankrupt. He will go to hell after he dies. How could she cheat money with that kind of looks? That rich young master is so gullible. Not only that, the Yu family's house was splashed with dog's blood recently. People even wrote B*TCH on the wall of the house. What was worse was that people even smashed the glass with stones. Yu Jing could not bear it anymore. Shen Lin is such a coward. How dare he let the Shins treat me like this? He even said that he will love me for the rest of his life. I haven't divorced that bastard yet. Aren't they afraid of being struck by lightning for doing this? Seeing that Yu Jing was so angry, Rong Junhan quickly went to her and sat down beside her. She tried to calm her down. Our plan failed this time. We have lost everything. Xiao Jing, you should find a good family as soon as possible and make plans for your future. What plans do I have? If I see a good man, I will go after him. Yu Jing did not care. She was very confident that she could flirt with men. Last night, I saw a handsome man in a nightclub. Girls should not go to that kind of place. Rong Junhan said unhappily. Mom, I restrained myself in order to play the role of a good wife to Shen Lin, right? What happened in the end? I did not get anything. So, why should I restrain myself? Yu Jing continued to be confident. Anyway, even if Shen Lin was gone, there was still a big world with millions of men. Rong Junhan could not control her. She could only let her be. That night, Yu Jing went to the nightclub she went to last night. She wanted to meet the handsome man from before. She had to admit that she was really lucky. She managed to hook such a handsome mixed-race man. The two of them flirted with each other. Yu Jing drank a lot of alcohol. When she woke up the next day, there were 4 or 5 men sleeping beside her. They were all naked. She had no idea that this matter had been deliberately arranged by someone to return an eye for an eye. Perhaps this family did not even know that their own hell had quietly begun. Since Shen Jianchuan had already woken up, then, of course, he could choose to slowly torture this family of 3. If they did not go crazy, they would not survive. When Mu Chi went to the hospital to visit her father again, he spoke much better. It seems that in less than a year and a half, you can be completely like a normal person. Mu Chi smiled at Shen Jianchuan as she scooped some soup for him. Shen Jianchuan was satisfied when he saw his daughter. But, he said, I hope that I can lie down forever. Then, you can come and see me often. I can also come and see you often when you are well. Actually, Mu Chi really wanted to know if the series of bad luck that Rong Junhan had experienced was really related to her father. Do you have any questions? Shen Jianchuan could see that his daughter wanted to say something. About Rong Junhan and her daughter, speaking of this, give the thing under my pillow to Shen Lin. Shen Jianchuan ordered Mu Chi. What? Mu Chi reached out her hand and found a small USB flash drive. What's in it? It's not suitable for children. But, at least, it helps Shen Lin to vent his anger. Muchichi nodded and kept the USB flash drive. Then, she asked Shin Jianchuan, "Dad, how much do you plan to deal with Rong Junhan and her family?" Shin Jianchuan could not answer her. He could not answer her. Who knew? Let's see how happy he was. When Muchichi saw that he did not speak, she knew that he must be hiding a sinister scheme in his mind. In this aspect, he and Xiao Xiao were too similar. Both of them were people who refused to be taken advantage of, and they would definitely take revenge. "Do you have a boyfriend?" Muchichi was stunned by Shin Jianchuan's sudden question. Muchichi did not have time to answer him. But Shin Jianchuan had already noticed something. "Does this mean that you have a boyfriend? Whose child is it?" "Dad, you should drink the soup." Muchichi stuffed his mouth with the soup. She stopped him from asking any more questions. Shin Jianchuan did not want to be an annoying father. He just shut his mouth. It was too easy to investigate. But he did not want his daughter to be disappointed in him. After Muchichi came out of the hospital, she took the things and went to Shin Mansion. Although Shinlin did not know how to face her, Muchichi was a generous person. She took the initiative to greet him. "My father asked me to give this to you. He said that he wants to help you to vent your anger." Shinlin took the things and looked at Muchichi. In the end, he sighed and apologized. "I'm sorry for what happened just now. Although I don't like you, you didn't do anything to me. That's a different matter." Muchichi replied. "Moreover, your task now is to deal with your relationship with Yu Jing. You can settle the score with me in the future. Anyway, you still have a long way to go." Chi. "Thank you. If you really want to thank me, then pluck up your courage and be a decent man. That way, I'll look up to you even more. Yu Jing, that bitch, I want to beat her up every time I see her. You should really fight back and let me watch the show. I think it's good too." I'll try." They had been in love for a long time and they had sacrificed so much. It was not easy to let go. Muchichi did not force him. After all, it was Shinlin's personal matter. It had nothing to do with her. But now, when she went to Shin Mansion, apart from Grandpa Shin's love, Huang Yu and Shin Jinyun also served her well. They really treated Muchichi like their own daughter. Because of that, Muchichi's status in the Shin family rose. Of course, some were happy and some were sad. Seeing that Muchichi was so popular, third daughter-in-law started to feel bad. Although she had been as quiet as a chicken over the last few days, quietly observing how things would develop, the old man would probably only remember Muchichi as his granddaughter in the end and forget about her own daughter. That was not a good thing. Muchichi helped to get rid of Rong Junhan. Of course, they should thank her. But they had to be careful. The Shin family asked Muchichi to stay for dinner. But Muchichi rejected them. She said that she wanted to go home and have dinner with her aunt. But Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua were together now. She did not need to be the third wheel anymore. But Muchichi insisted. So, the Shin family did not ask her to stay. Chapter 193. Grandpa Shin looked at Muchichi's back as she left. His expression was unfathomable. Muchichi was not in a relationship. She and Xing Xiao had been living together for some time now, and they had sex almost every night. She was thirsty for more. She rushed home because Xing Xiao told her that he would bring her to a new place for a date. So many things had happened recently. They did not have the chance to go out and have fun. Xing Xiao was also in a hurry. Mama Xing could still see her son's figure in Huang Yao. But in the next second, she could only see his yellow sports car speeding past. Mama Xing sighed helplessly. But when she turned around, she saw Jing Yun. Jing Yun saw Mama Xing too. At that moment, he regretted that he did not leave the company 5 minutes later. Jing Yun, what is Xing Xiao busy with these days? He always comes and goes in a hurry. Madam, I'm not sure. Isn't young master always like this? Jing Yun was still trying to avoid the topic. You're right. By the way, you should bring the girl from the Shin family who doesn't share the same surname as you. She's quite popular these days. She helped old Shin solve Rong Juanhan's problem. I'd like to meet such an amazing 18-year-old girl. Yes, madam. The Shin family and the Xing family had a good relationship. Mama Xing had met all the members of the Shin family. So, she was curious when Muchichi appeared. She wanted to hear about her interesting stories. But she did not know that this 18-year-old girl was her daughter-in-law. Actually, Jing Yun was also very anxious. He was not as calm as he looked. He was afraid that Muchichi would not know her place and leave a bad impression on the Xing family. Then, it would be harder for her to marry into the Shin family. But he could not find an excuse when Madame asked him again and again, could he? Did he think that Xing Xiao did not have a good plan? At night, Xing Xiao drove Muchichi. When they went out, he asked her to wear a black miniskirt with high heels and put on makeup. Muchichi saw Xing Xiao wearing a blue striped suit. He looked very formal. She could not help but ask, who are we going to meet? We are going to an art exhibition. Are you interested? Xing Xiao said mysteriously. Who is going to hold an art exhibition at night? Xing Xiao smiled. His handsome face looked especially sexy and charming at that moment. Soon, they arrived at the Black Maple Gallery. However, Xing Xiao did not bring Muchichi in. Instead, they sat down at the Western restaurant opposite the gallery. Since he had booked the whole place and the restaurant was open air, they could clearly see the opposite side. Hence, Xing Xiao was in a good mood. But Muchichi was puzzled. She held her chin and looked at him. Are you not going to tell me anything? Papa Yu is holding an art exhibition here today. So, I brought you here to watch a show. Xing Xiao picked up the glass of red wine and aimed it at the gallery opposite. How did you know there would be a good show? Because I trust my instincts. Xing Xiao pointed at his head. Why did Papa Yu have to be so careful? It was because he was afraid that someone would come and cause trouble again. His own gallery was destroyed, and now he wanted to borrow someone else's gallery for the exhibition. Moreover, he decided to hold the exhibition at night. This was to ensure that everything would go smoothly during the exhibition. By keeping a low profile, it was not easy to attract attention. However, to his surprise, a group of reporters came to the art exhibition. When they saw Papa Yu, they went up to him to interview him. Mr. Yu, I heard that your daughter is suspected of marriage fraud. Is it true? Mr. Yu, I heard that you and your lover from many years ago had an affair and worked together to cheat the Shin family's company. Is that true? Mr. Yu, there are rumors that your paintings were created through improper means. What do you think of it? Papa Yu was surrounded by the reporters. He immediately called the security guards. But there were too many reporters, and the security guards were limited. In the end, Papa Yu could only shout, nonsense. You are all talking nonsense. Where did you hear that? Do you believe that I can sue you for slander? Mr. Yu, you can sue us if you want. But you have to answer our question first. It seems that the gallery opposite is very lively. Xing Xiao smiled as he elegantly cut the beef. I saw a lot of reporters there. Muchichi saw it clearly. There are about a dozen of them. I'm afraid that the security guards in the gallery are not enough. Soon, Papa Yu could not take it anymore. He asked the security guards to clear the way for him. He wanted to leave first. However, the reporters rushed out of the art gallery and pushed Papa Yu down the stairs. The stairs were not high, but Papa Yu rolled into the middle of the road. If the driver did not stop the car in time, he would have died under the wheels. Although his life was not in danger, he was seriously injured. Soon, Papa Yu was sent to the hospital. Almost, little rascal, are you feeling sorry for him? Xing Xiao asked, amused. I don't want to kill him. It's not bad to break his limbs and let him suffer. Xing Xiao put the steak on her plate and pinched her nose. Hurry up and eat. Once you finish eating, I will fulfill your wish. Ha! In fact, Papa Yu's hand was crushed by the wheels. It was just that Muchichi did not see it. Moreover, it was his right hand. When he was sent to the emergency room, Papa Yu was diagnosed with a comminuted fracture of the last 3 fingers on his right hand. Although it could be cured, it would leave a sequela if it was not cured. Rong Junhan and Yu Jing arrived at the hospital soon. When they saw Papa Yu's hand, they asked quickly, how did he get a comminuted fracture? Reporters. It's all those damn reporters' fault. It must be the Shin family's doing. Papa Yu shouted in pain. The Shin family wants to torture us bit by bit. They don't want us to live well. Rong Junhan turned around angrily after she heard that. Xiao Jing, take care of your father. I will go to the Shin family. But, who would admit that it was the Shin family? Soon, Muchichi knew about Papa Yu's injury. She looked at Xing Xiao in surprise. He really got a fracture, idiot. Xing Xiao looked at her in disdain. But, there was a hint of affection in his eyes. Now that Papa Yu is injured, I'm afraid Rong Junhan will go to the Shin family, let your grandfather deal with it. We just need to watch the show. I'm afraid that this family will go crazy soon. Xing Xiao believed in Shin Jinchuan's ability to torture people. Moreover, they had a grudge for more than 10 years. Because Shin Jianchuan was not torturing Rong Junhan and her family physically. Instead, he was destroying their minds bit by bit. Everything they did was not going well. Moreover, they were being troubled everywhere. Their living conditions were getting worse. Chapter 194. Rong Junhan drove straight to Shin Mansion from the hospital. But Grandpa Shin had ordered the sentries to not let anyone from the Rong family enter Shin Mansion as they pleased after she came with Yu Jing to make a scene. So, it was almost impossible for Rong Junhan to enter Shin Mansion. Rong Junhan was furious. But she was stopped at the gate of the Shin family. She was not happy. She pointed at the guard at the gate and scolded, "You old bastard. Do the Shins only know such despicable tricks? Come at me if you dare. Let me in. Huang Yu, come out now. And Mu Chi-Chi, that bastard. Little bitch." But no matter how she shouted, no one in the Shin family cared about her. In the end, no one from the Shin family came out even when her voice was hoarse. Was there any need to care about her? Absolutely not. Grandpa Shin was in his study. Because Mu Chi-Chi had asked him to dig deeper into Rong Junhan, Grandpa Shin expanded the scope to the whole Rong family. Now, he was reading the results of the investigation. No wonder Rong Junhan left in a hurry that day. She was afraid that Grandpa Shin would find out about Rong Group's tax evasion. It was her brother who was the mastermind. But her brother was a drunkard. He could not hide the truth when he was drunk. So, he was the one who found out the truth bit by bit. Good boy. Not bad. Grandpa Shin took off his glasses after reading the information. Then, he called the police. Did he still need to give face to the Rong family? He did not need to. Rong Junhan did not expect that the higher-ups would send someone to investigate Rong Group's tax issue just an hour after her lover injured his hand. Then, she received a call for help from her brother. "Sister, you must help me. Something happened to the company." "The company is fine." What could happen? Rong Junhan was anxious now. She was getting impatient. "I don't know who reported us. Now, we are being interrogated by the police about the tax issue." Rong Junhan was stunned when she heard the word tax. She dropped her phone. "No, no," Rong Junhan said. Then, she picked up her phone from the ground. She told her brother, "Stay calm. I will come over now, sis, it's too late. I'm going to be taken back for questioning now." Rong Junhan felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Because Rong Group was her last trump card. If she lost Rong Group, she would have nothing left. Soon, Rong Junhan called her lawyer. The lawyer stayed silent for a few seconds after he heard about it. Then, he said, "I've told you before that you can't do this kind of thing. But you didn't believe me and came to me now. What can I do? The amount of tax evasion by the Rong Group is no longer a matter of fines and compensation. You will have to go to jail. You and your brother, at least 3 years, at most 7 years." Rong Junhan's legs were weak. She could only beg the lawyer. "Lawyerin, please help me. This isn't a private lawsuit. I'll quit, okay?" After that, the other party hung up the phone. Rong Junhan called out a few times, but there was no response. Even her lawyer could not stand it anymore. Papa Yu's hand was injured, so he would not be able to paint in a short period of time. Moreover, Yu Jing was in such a state, so the father and daughter could not help her at all. Thinking about that, Rong Junhan's heart sank. No, she should ask her friends for help. Maybe they could still be saved. But who would be willing to help them now? Were their friends stupid? Soon, Muchichi knew about what happened to the Rong family. Of course, she clapped her hands and cheered. Rong Junhan had framed the Shin family. Now, she was the one who was humiliated by the Shin family. But, it was not the Shin family's fault. It was Rong Junhan's own fault, wasn't it? Muchichi followed Grandpa Shin's order to go to the Shin family for dinner. But, she wanted to know who was the culprit this time. Grandpa Shin sneered while he was eating. "Didn't you ask me to dig deeper? Then, I found out the truth. Then, I made a phone call to report the culprit." Muchichi laughed and gave Grandpa Shin a thumbs up. "Grandpa, you're so good at it." "Humph," Grandpa Shin snorted. Then, he thought of something and said to Muchichi, "Don't go to class next Saturday. Accompany me to a birthday party and visit an old comrade. Father, Roy, is coming home soon. Let her go with you." Third aunt said to Grandpa Shin immediately. "Although Chi-Chi's family background is not low, the birthday party you are going to will be attended by guests with powerful backgrounds. I'm afraid that she won't know how to deal with them if they ask about her background." Third aunt looked like she was kind enough to prevent Muchichi from being embarrassed. But, in fact, she wanted to remind Grandpa Shin that he had another granddaughter. He should not be biased. Grandpa Shin finished his soup and looked at third aunt. He was suspicious. "Are you afraid that I can't take good care of Chi-Chi? Or are you mocking Chi-Chi for not being presentable?" "Father, I don't mean that. Roy is my granddaughter. You don't need to remind her. Even if she comes back, the Shin family will still be her home. But this will not affect my decision to bring Chi-Chi to the birthday party." Grandpa Shin was obviously unhappy. Actually, Muchichi did not really want to go to the birthday party. She preferred to stay at home with her aunt and Xing Xiao. It's decided then. Xiaoqi will go with me on Saturday. I'll introduce you to the boy from the Lin family. If you can date him, Grandpa Shin will be very happy. Grandpa Shin actually had such an intention. So, Mu Chi-Chi immediately said with a sad face, Grandpa, I'm still young. I'm just a freshman. You can get to know each other and date him for 3 to 4 years. Then, you can get married, right? Otherwise, you'll become an old lady like your aunt. Mu Chi-Chi felt helpless. She did not know if Grandpa Shin was being conservative or old-fashioned. Mu Chi-Chi had Xing Xiao. Of course, she did not need other resources. But, third aunt was very jealous of her. Shin Ruoyi was older than Mu Chi-Chi. It was because the second and third sons of the Shin family got married earlier than Shin Jianchuan. So, their children should be older. Why did Grandpa Shin not introduce the young master of the Lin family to Ruoyi? Instead, he introduced Mu Chi-Chi, who was not even 19 years old. Wasn't he being biased? Huang Yu and Shin Jinyun did not think that way, but third daughter-in-law was very unhappy about it. Speaking of appearance, talent and family background, Shin Ruoyi was not as good as Mu Chi-Chi. Grandpa Shin could really do it. But, Mu Chi-Chi could see that third aunt was unhappy. So, she said, why don't I talk to Grandpa? I don't need your fake kindness. Chapter 195. Although she did not want to go, she did not want third aunt to take advantage of her. So, after third aunt left, Mu Chi-Chi said to Huang Yu, why don't I ask Grandpa to bring your daughter instead? She is only 17. Why would she need it? Huang Yu smiled. But, Xiaoqi, tell me the truth. Do you already have someone you like? Mu Chi-Chi was stunned. She did not answer. If the Shin family knew that she had such a relationship with Xing Xiao, would they feel that it was a disgrace to the family? Would they chase her out immediately? You can say that. Mu Chi-Chi answered mysteriously. But, you can't ask me who it is. When I grow up, I will pursue it myself. You are so young. Huang Yu did not continue asking. Of course, she would not think about Xing Xiao. Although they had some history, the crown prince of Huang Yao was not someone that a little girl like Mu Chi-Chi could win over. So, Mu Chi-Chi managed to escape. When she got home, Xing Xiao was already at home. He was wearing a black shirt and sitting in the living room. He was reading the documents with all his attention. But, he did not ignore the little figure that walked in. You are back. Mu Chi-Chi was mesmerized by his serious look, especially when he was wearing a black shirt. That kind of abstinence made people not dare to get close to him, but they could not help but look at him a few more times. It was really fascinating. But, Mu Chi-Chi remembered what Grandpa Shin said today. So, she walked up to Xing Xiao and took the documents from his hands. Then, she straddled him and said, Grandpa is bringing me to some birthday party. And what? Xing Xiao asked her dangerously. And, he said that he is going to introduce a boyfriend to me. Mu Chi-Chi lowered her head and drew circles in the air with her index finger. You want to go? Xing Xiao lifted her chin and asked. Are you tired of living? Xing Xiao carried her from the sofa and pinned her against the wall. He punished her harshly. Have you forgotten who your man is? How can I forget? Mu Chi-Chi quickly explained. Xiao, I have worked so hard to get you. How can I go and see someone else? Did you chase me? Xing Xiao snorted coldly. I was the one who protected and spoiled you. You still dare to go on a blind date? I'm catching up. I've had a crush on you for so long. Can't you feel how deep my feelings for you are? This time, Xing Xiao found it interesting. How deep? How am I supposed to express my gratitude? You only know how to bully me. At that, Xing Xiao picked her up and put her on the big bed in the bedroom. He had thought that there would be a round of kisses, but he simply flipped her over, lifted her skirt and gave her a few tight slaps on her buttocks. Mu Chichi was in so much pain that she was in tears. You bully me. Xing Xiao knew that she was in pain, so he helped her massage it again. I'll teach you a lesson. How do you know I have no memory? I remember it. I remember it even if I have to go to the ends of the earth. My man is Xing Xiao. He's an arrogant demon, but he's also a meticulous man. He loves to tease me the most, but I find him very charming. At her words, Xing Xiao leaned over and kissed her red buttocks. Mu Chichi blushed and quickly covered her mouth. I haven't showered yet. Which part of your body have I not kissed? Xing Xiao said in disdain. Then, he carried Mu Chichi into the bedroom and put her in the bathtub. You can go to the birthday banquet, but I know what I'm doing. Mu Chichi quickly raised her hand and swore. I just want to get to know more people, but I won't look at another man. Xing Xiao snorted. He was satisfied. It was not because he was being generous, but because the Xing family was also on the invitation list. Before this, he had thought that this kind of occasion was boring. It seemed that he would have to snatch the invitation from Sixth Brother's hands. By the way, Xiao Xiao, shouldn't we send a gift to Aunt Zipei now that she is getting married? Xing Xiao nodded when he heard the word we. His gaze softened. Because Mu Chichi saw the two of them as a whole. To Mu Chichi, he was the head of the family and her husband. And to Su Zipei, he was her niece's son-in-law. What does Aunt Zipei like? Aunt Zipei has everything. She just wants us to be happy. Mu Chichi said as she lay on the bathtub. Then let's give her a peace of mind. I'll leave it to you. Mu Chichi grabbed Xing Xiao's hand and rested her head on the back of his hand. Soon, she fell asleep. Xing Xiao helped his little one with her bath and went to the study to ask Jing Yun to prepare a gift. It did not need to be expensive, but it was a sincere blessing. He believed that Su Zipei would like it. Then, he looked at Mu Chichi who was sleeping soundly on the bed. But Xing Xiao was not in a hurry to sleep. It was because Grandpa Xin was too unreliable this time. She, was only 19 years old. How could this old man be so eager to find a grandson-in-law? If Grandpa Xin scared him like this, he should not blame him for giving Grandpa Xin a headache. It was already late at night. But Rong Junhan had asked most of her relatives and friends to save her brother. But none of them would help her. Rong Junhan was very anxious. But she did not stop until she reached her sister-in-law's house. My daughter has divorced your brother. How dare you come here? You deserve what happened to the Rong family. She sneered at her. I really want to set off firecrackers. What did the Rong family say when your brother humiliated my daughter? Now, it's karma. Rong Junhan knew it would be like this. But she did not have the time and energy to quarrel with them. She could only walk out of the house. This family doesn't even change the lights in the stairwell. I'm afraid they are too poor to save my brother. Rong Junhan said angrily. Then, she turned on the flashlight on her phone. But she was pushed by someone from behind. She screamed and rolled down the stairs. She would not be so lucky this time. She could be forgiven if she did not do so many bad things in the past. If she had not done so many bad things in the past, she would not have to pay for it like this today. Soon, Yu Jing received the news that Rong Junhan was injured. Her father had just come in and Rong Junhan had many fractures in her body. Yu Jing could not hold it anymore. She broke down and cried. Muchichi felt that she could not accept the news. The Rong family was investigated yesterday. Today, Rong Junhan was admitted to the hospital with fractures. Would she be sent to jail tomorrow? Was Rong Junhan really unlucky, or she felt that her father would not be so fast? Maybe Rong Junhan was really unlucky. On the other hand, Yu Jing did not know what to do. The only person she could think of was Shenlin. Chapter 196. But she did not have Shenlin's contact number now. So, she could only beg the Shen family for help. Especially when she heard that her uncle was arrested. Now, she saw Rong Junhan lying on the bed. She was at a loss. She just wanted to rely on someone else. At this moment, who else would be willing to give her support? Of course, it was Shenlin. Yu Jing took a taxi and went to the Shen family. But she was not allowed to enter the house. She cried and threw a tantrum. The guards at the door did not dare to touch her. So, they could only inform Grandpa Shen. But Grandpa Shen did not care about this. He asked Huang Yu to settle the debt she owed. Huang Yu looked at her son. Although Shenlin did not say anything, she knew that he wanted to end things with Yu Jing once and for all. Shenlin was humiliated and trampled on like that. Even Muchichi hoped that he could muster up his courage and say no to this woman. How could he let his parents and family down? So, Shenlin still told Huang Yu after she hesitated. "Mother, let me go. Can you really handle it?" Huang Yu was afraid that her son would be soft-hearted. Shenlin did not hide his emotions. But, he insisted. "Just let me go. I want to know the truth. I understand what you mean. Go ahead." Huang Yu nodded. Shenlin could guess why Yu Jing came to him. Now, the Rong family was declining. Her parents and uncle were in trouble. She needed someone to rely on. This woman always relied on others to live. She did not want to take responsibility. She was like a parasite. Shenlin walked to the door of the Shen family. He saw Yu Jing squatting on the ground. But there was no joy in his eyes. There was only hatred and anger. When Yu Jing saw Shenlin, she immediately went forward and hugged his legs. She said, "Shenlin, you finally came out to see me. I knew that you would come out. You did not want to leave me behind." Shenlin did not move. He let Yu Jing hug him. He felt that it was ironic when he thought of how Yu Jing humiliated him that day. "I remember clearly that day. You said that I did not achieve anything. I have no skills. I only know how to ask my parents for money. I only said those words out of anger. But I think, you're right." Shenlin sneered, "How can a lowly man like me be worthy of you kneeling down on your noble knees and begging me for mercy?" As Shenlin spoke, he pinched Yu Jing's chin and said, "Don't you want your dignity anymore? Do you have any sense of shame? Do you know how to write the word cheap?" "Shenlin, for the past few days, I've been wondering why a useless man like me would fall for you. Now I finally understand. It's because you don't have any skills, and your skills in bed are like a dead fish. Not only do you ask your parents for money, but you also cheat other men of their money. What right do you have to look down on me?" Yu Jing was in tears. Her chin was pinched and she could not say a word. "Look, your uncle is down, and your parents are injured, but didn't you still come to find me? You said I'm cheap, but are you even more cheap than me? Shenlin, don't you love me anymore?" "Love?" Shenlin sneered and looked up at the sky. Then, he answered Yu Jing, "Didn't you destroy my little love? Compared to your humiliation, my little love is nothing. Do you really think you're a beauty? Do you really think I can't live without you?" Yu Jing, look carefully. My Shen family is powerful and influential. Do you think I, Shenlin, lack women? Yes, I was lied to by you before, but I can get a divorce. After the divorce, there will still be people who like me because I will become better and better. But what about you? You're going to sink into the mud, and then, fall into hell. Why do I still like you like this? After hearing what Shenlin said, Yu Jing quickly confessed to him, I'll change. I won't say those cheap words anymore. I'll really change. Believe me. Thinking about the woman in front of him and thinking about his past, Shenlin only felt that everything was so ridiculous and worthless. What he sacrificed everything for was actually such a thing. Finally, he felt relieved and got rid of Yu Jing. I don't want to see you again. Don't ever let me see you again. Shenlin, get lost. This time, Shenlin was very determined. What true love? What faithful love? In front of money, it seemed so fragile. Yu Jing was still shouting behind him. But Shenlin could not hear her anymore. It was really not worth it to be dragged into hell by such a person. Huang Yu saw her son coming back as she wished. She also knew that Yu Jing was still crying outside. Since her son had made a decision, she was relieved. Join the army next spring. Try to be a man of indomitable spirit. Don't let your grandfather down again. Shenlin held Huang Yu's hand and nodded. Don't worry, Mom. It's enough to be silly once. I won't be silly again. Chi-Chi is your sister. She deserves your protection. Repay her in the future. I will. Once something was kept in a man's heart, it would be a promise for a lifetime. Mu Chi-Chi protected his parents and exposed his fake marriage. He would certainly remember her kindness for the rest of his life. In the future, if someone in the Shen family bullied Mu Chi-Chi, he would be the first one to speak up for her. Your eldest cousin is coming back. Look at third brother. I don't think he likes Mu Chi-Chi very much. Help him to keep an eye on her. Okay. Go back to your room. Huang Yu patted her son's shoulder and reminded him to rest. As for Yu Jing, who was outside the door, she would just let her fend for herself. Speaking of Shenlin's eldest cousin, Shenrui, she was very studious. She had completed all the courses in the university at a young age. Now, she was a postgraduate student. She was widely acknowledged as a talented girl. Grandpa Shen had no reason to dislike such a granddaughter. But, deep down, he loved Mu Chi-Chi more. It was because Shenrui grew up in a honeypot. But, Mu Chi-Chi was not. Because Grandpa Shen liked Mu Chi-Chi more, third sister was so anxious. She urged her daughter to go home. She had already found the handsome young man in the Lin family for her daughter. She could not let Mu Chi-Chi have it. But Shenrui did not agree. Mom, I will definitely go home tomorrow. But, can you not make a match for me? I don't like that kind of handsome young man. Then, who do you like? I don't want to talk to you anymore. Shenrui could not communicate with her mother at all. Oh yeah, the new cousin is called Mu Chi-Chi, right? What does she like? I will bring some back for her. It's none of your business what she likes. I'm warning you. Don't have too much contact with her. Chapter 197. But Shenrui did not think so. She had to get close to Mu Chi-Chi. Because Mu Chi-Chi was related to the Xing family. So, she went to a luxury shop in France and bought some toys for Mu Chi-Chi despite her mother's objection. She wanted to give them to Mu Chi-Chi as a gift. Mu Chi-Chi knew that her cousin was coming back. So, she asked Xing Xiao about her. But Xing Xiao only answered her, I don't know her. Shinrui had a lot of experience in school. She was talented and well-educated. She was not like third aunt's daughter at all. But she was just normal. She did not have any personality at all. Moreover, Xingxiao rarely paid attention to the girls in the Shin family except for Muqiqi. He spent more time with the men. Muqiqi nodded after getting the answer. All right. I'll have to find out more about her myself. I hope that she is really different from third aunt. When Shinrui reached home, it was already nighttime in Jianchuan. The first thing she did was to kiss Grandpa Shin. Grandpa, I'm back. Grandpa Shin was happy to see his granddaughter. You're getting more and more beautiful. That's right. Even I haven't seen you in almost half a year. Huang Yu reached out and pulled her daughter into a hug. Shinrui greeted everyone in the family. But she did not see Muqiqi. Didn't you say that there's a new member in the family? She's still on the way, said Grandpa Shin. But third aunt's expression changed. She did not like her daughter to have too much interaction with Muqiqi. So, she whispered to Shinrui, didn't I tell you not to mind other people's business? Shinrui would not listen to her. After a while, she started chatting with Shinlin. Soon, Muqiqi appeared at the entrance of the Shin family. She came here with the intention to meet this talented lady. She heard that Shinrui was a talented lady. She entered the living room and saw a tall girl with a confident smile. Muqiqi had a good first impression of her. She was tall and had an oval face. She had long hair and was dressed in an exotic way. She must have good taste. Shinrui took out a gift when she saw Muqiqi. She walked toward her and said, "This is for you." "Welcome." Rui. Third aunt was furious. Muqiqi looked at the gift box in her hand. It was a famous watch. She immediately replied, "This is too expensive. We're sisters, there's no need to be so polite." Shinrui was very friendly. She was confident and generous. She really had the demeanor of the Shin family's young lady. It was no wonder that third aunt was jealous of Grandpa Shin's love for her. She really hoped that Grandpa Shin would pay more attention to such an outstanding daughter. It's time to eat. Let's talk while we eat. Shinrui held Muqiqi's hand and sat down at the dining table. She accidentally noticed the tattoo on Muqiqi's earlobe. She was surprised. Is this Uncle Shin Jiaxiao's English name? You know about it? Muqiqi was surprised because Xiao Xiao said that very few people knew about his name. I saw him sign it when I went to the Xing family a few years ago. Why did you tattoo it on your ear? Fortunately, she had explained about the tattoo before. Otherwise, she would not be able to hide it anymore if she was exposed. She admires her savior. Grandpa Shin explained for Muqiqi. But, Xingxiao deserves to be her idol. It's fate. Shinrui smiled. She took the red wine and toasted Muqiqi. It's our first time meeting. I hope that we can take care of each other in the future. Muqiqi did not know why. Although Shinrui had explained it to her, she still felt that something was not right. A woman's intuition was very accurate sometimes. So, even though Shinrui was so friendly to her, she was still cautious. She was not the old Muqiqi who only knew how to look at a person's appearance. So, although she seemed to agree with Shinrui on the surface, she was still suspicious of her cousin. Rui, Grandpa Lin is going to celebrate his 70th birthday soon. But, he doesn't want to bring you along. Third aunt took the opportunity to stir up trouble. I was thinking that since you like Chi-Chi so much, why don't you two go? Then, you can take care of her. I was thinking that you're a talented girl in the literature department. You're also considerate. If Chi-Chi makes any mistakes, you can make up for it. You're even comparing this. Huang Yu smiled. Chi-Chi is a genius in science. Don't you know how many marks she got into Xingting University? It's because Chi-Chi is a science student. She doesn't have a high EQ. That's why I asked Roy to help her. Isn't it for the good of the Shin family? Chi-Chi has a high EQ. It's not a problem. Huang Yu refuted. All right. You have to quarrel over such a small matter. Roy, let's go together. Grandpa Shin decided that since his granddaughter was back, it was reasonable for her to meet the elders. But he never thought that Mu Chi-Chi needed someone to take care of her. He knew that this sly girl was weird and cunning. That's more like it. Third aunt felt better. Adults are always so boring. Shinrui did not show that she wanted to go. But she did not say that she would not go either. Mu Chi-Chi could not tell which side she was on at the moment, but she had a feeling that her cousin was not as simple as she looked. So, soon, Mu Chi-Chi found an excuse to go home to accompany her aunt. Then, she left the Shin family and went back to her new home. When she saw Xing Xiao, she climbed onto his lap and asked, "Does Shinrui know that it's your English name?" Xing Xiao looked at her angry face. Then, he pointed at the tattoo on his collarbone and asked her, "Does Shinrui know that it's your English name?" "Xiao Xiao, let me be honest with you. I don't like Shinrui. I don't know why, but I feel that she is being nice to me. She has a purpose. You see, she gave me a lot of gifts when we first met. But, when the others in the Shin family knew about my existence, they all frowned at me. Since you don't like it, you should give her something of the same value. Consider it as a return gift. Then, you won't feel uneasy and feel that you owe her a favor. My little one, do you still lack these things?" Mu Chi-Chi thought about it and felt that it was reasonable. These powerful families are so complicated. You grew up in the Mu family. You should be familiar with these things. Aren't you used to it? Xing Xiao hugged her and comforted her. Chapter 198. Shenrui was too nice to Mu Chi-Chi. Third aunt was puzzled. After the family dinner, she went to her daughter's room and asked, "Do you really like Mu Chi-Chi? Why didn't you think of buying them for your parents when you bought them for her? Or, are you just trying to stall for time? Do you have an ulterior motive?" Shenrui was removing her makeup at the dressing table. She felt helpless after she heard what her mother said. "Mother, why do you think of me like that? Mu Chi-Chi is very likable. Don't always pick on her. It's your first time meeting her. How do you know what kind of person she is?" "Mother, I'm very tired today. Please let me go," Shinrui said coquettishly. She knew her mother's weakness. As expected, third aunt took a deep breath and calmed herself down. "Then, you should rest. But, don't be nice to her when you go to the birthday party. You're just a bastard. How dare you try to ride on the daughter of the family?" "Mother, I know. You should go back to your room now." Third aunt was helpless. She could only leave her daughter's room. But, she was not willing to let Mu Chi-Chi go to the birthday party and steal her daughter's spotlight. Her daughter must be the prettiest one that day. She wanted to win young Master Lin's heart. But, she did not know that her daughter's ambition was never to be a young master of the Lin family. The next day, Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua received a gift from Xing Xiao. It was a set of exquisite but not luxurious jewelry. It was something that a woman would wear when she got married. Everything was exquisite and Su Zipei liked it very much. Young Master Sheng is so considerate. He is born in a rich family but he can understand other people's difficulties and needs. He is so considerate. This niece-in-law is so considerate. Lu Wenhua hugged Suzy Pei and said to her, I don't have any children and I don't have any relatives. Now that I have you, of course, I will love Chi-Chi more. As for young Master Sheng, he is not an ordinary person. I only hope that with our support, Chi-Chi will have more bargaining chips in the Sheng family. Wenhua, thank you. If you want, I am willing to bear your children. But, you can't be partial. Don't worry. Many people love Chi-Chi now, Lu Wenhua comforted her. Actually, I have a problem now, and I hope you can promise me. Suzy Pei suddenly thought of something. After we get married, can we move to a small villa? I just hope that no matter when Chi-Chi comes home, she will have a hot meal to eat. That way, even if someone suspects her relationship with young Master Sheng, she will be able to handle it. If I get married and the house is empty, how will Chi-Chi answer to the Shen family? Lu Wenhua listened to his wife and nodded. Actually, the villa is closer to Eton. Of course, I'm willing. Suzy Pei got the answer and hugged Lu Wenhua gratefully. Perhaps Chi-Chi was right. The heavens had left the best for her last. After that, Suzy Pei called Mu Chi-Chi. Mu Chi-Chi had just woken up, and when she learned that Xing Xiao had sent her a gift, she gave him a big kiss on the cheek. Xing Xiao opened his eyes in confusion. When he saw Mu Chi-Chi put down her phone, he pulled her into his arms and pinned her under his body. Xiao Xiao, I'm going to be late. You should know the consequences when you kissed me. Men were usually excited in the morning, especially when Mu Chi-Chi looked so obsessed with him. It was a blatant seduction. But the professor's class is really scary. Can it be scarier than me? Xing Xiao's hair was messy at the moment, and he looked so sexy. Moreover, he was naked, and his eyes were full of lust. Which woman could resist such temptation? Forget it. I'll admit it even if I fail the class. Mu Chi-Chi raised her hands and surrendered. Soon, she was addicted to his touch and kisses. She did not have the energy to think about anything else. So, the bedroom in the morning was very romantic, especially the sounds. It made her blush and let her imagination run wild. Actually, not only Mu Chi-Chi, but Xing Xiao was also late. The meeting in Huangyao was delayed for an hour. When Jing Yun saw Xing Xiao, he was full of energy. Obviously, he was satisfied. He had the person he loved in his arms. Even if it was a business deal worth billions, he could still postpone it. When she looked at the Rong family, Rong Junhan had a mental breakdown when she knew that her brother would not be able to escape from prison. Rong Group was in a mess now. The shareholders had withdrawn their investments, and some had sold their shares. There was no one who could clean up the mess. Was it her daughter? She could not count on it. Because Yu Jing had been thinking about how to find another man to rely on. How could she make a comeback in such a situation? The more Rong Junhan thought about it, the colder she felt. In the end, she said to Yu Jing, Shen Jianchuan is also in this hospital. Push me to see him. Mom, are you going to beg this man? He is just a cripple. He can't help us. Don't talk nonsense. You just need to push me to him, Rong Junhan said coldly. Her fracture was in a cast, so it was difficult for her to move. Okay. Yu Jing found a wheelchair and pushed Rong Junhan to the 8th floor of the hospital. It was the ward where Shen Jianchuan was recuperating. After lunch, Shen Jianchuan was about to take a nap. But when he saw his old friend, he was immediately awake. You are the one who planned everything, Jianchuan. Because other than you, I can't think of anyone else in the Shen family who would be so ruthless. Shen Jianchuan leaned against the headboard and looked at Rong Junhan calmly. This is the price you have to pay for letting me live, Rong Junhan laughed at herself when she got the answer. I was wondering how a disabled person who can't even speak properly could do so many things behind the scenes. But I have underestimated you. You're famous for being a vengeful person. I made you suffer in bed for more than 10 years. Will you leave me alone? I am too naive. Yu Jing heard their conversation and went forward angrily. She wanted to hit Shen Jianchuan. But Rong Junhan stopped her. Do whatever you want if you want to die faster. Mom, he is just a cripple. His body is damaged but his brain is not. If you still want to live, you'd better get out of here. Rong Junhan shouted at Yu Jing. She was so agitated that she almost hurt her wound. Yu Jing stomped her feet and went out obediently. Chapter 199. I'm just a useless person. Shen Jianchuan could now speak a sentence more fluently. In that case, you still want to make life difficult for us. Rong Junhan said agitatedly. I've taken care of you for more than 10 years. Can't you spare our lives? Who did I become like this? Shen Jianchuan asked Rong Junhan. I didn't do it on purpose. You did. Shen Jianchuan said confidently. If you want me to spare your life, it depends on your attitude. Are you going to cling on to something that doesn't exist, or are you willing to disappear from Jianchuan? Rong Junhan understood what Shen Jianchuan meant. Shen Jianchuan wanted her to give up everything and leave Jianchuan with Yu Jing. Moreover, she was not allowed to step into this city ever again. Will you let us go if we do that? At least, I won't bother to help you if you're somewhere else. Shen Jianchuan replied. He was a man with a daughter now. What awaited him next was rehabilitation training. He did not want to waste any more time on this family of scum. However, he could not watch this family of 3 walk around in front of him so shamelessly. I understand. Rong Junhan nodded. She looked hopeless. If you want to disappear, you must disappear completely. Rong Junhan looked at her leg that was in a cast. She thought of her brother who was going to be imprisoned. She could not help but cry. She had been scheming for so many years. She had been hiding in the Shen family for so many years. But in the end, she could not even go home. Shen Jianchuan did not pity her at all. After all, this woman had done all kinds of bad things. Rong Junhan knew that there was nothing she could do in front of Shen Jianchuan. She could only hide her embarrassment. She called Yu Jing into the ward and pushed her away from Shen Jianchuan's territory. Mom, what should we do next? Go home and pack your things. We are moving out of Jianchuan. Why? Yu Jing exclaimed. If you don't want to be the one with a broken leg, then don't ask. Yu Jing kept quiet when she thought of her parents lying in the hospital. She could not imagine how scary Shen Jianchuan was. He would kill them all. But her mother had been scheming for her whole life. But she ended up like this. Yu Jing felt that her world was collapsing. Saturday came quickly. Before she went to the Shen family, Mu Qiqi brought chicken soup to the hospital to visit Shen Jianchuan. Dad, drink it while it's hot. Shen Jianchuan looked at his daughter and knew that she was going to attend the birthday banquet today. He smiled and said, Are you here to learn from me? What are you thinking? I just want to see you. Mu Qiqi answered him. I'm here to see how Rong Junhan is doing. Didn't Grandpa say that she is also in this hospital? When Rong Junhan was mentioned, Shen Jianchuan was silent for a moment. Then, he replied, You won't be able to see this family in Jianchuan anymore. Ha! Mu Qiqi didn't quite understand. The whole family left. Shen Jianchuan replied. Maybe I'm old and don't want to kill them all. As long as she disappears from my sight, I can let her live. The Roan clan only has herself to blame for this outcome. Mu Chichi nodded. Then, she smiled at Shin Jianchuan. Then, we'll have to look forward to the future. You must get well soon, or I'll be bullied in the Shin family. Who dares to bully you? You don't know. Mu Chichi pouted. I heard from your grandfather that Shin Rui likes you a lot, doesn't she? Shin Jianchuan reminded her not to throw a tantrum. But if someone comes to trouble you, I will be your strongest support. You don't have to be afraid of anything. I know. She had a great boyfriend and a great father. What was there for her to be afraid of now? After visiting Shin Jianchuan in the hospital, Mu Chichi went back to her new home. She changed into a black A-line dress. There was a layer of black muslin on top of the dress. She looked elegant and her skin was fair. At her age, she was in her prime. As long as there was a confident smile on her face, she would attract attention no matter where she went. Mu Chichi did not know that Xing Xiao was going to the birthday banquet. She asked Uncle Lin to send her to the Shin family at 5:00. She had to meet Grandpa Shin and go to the birthday banquet with Shin Rui. Shin Rui was wearing a blue dress and her hair was braided. She looked very special. It seemed that she knew her shortcomings. So, she always wanted to find something special to make herself look more attractive. Chi-Chi, you are so beautiful. Shin Rui was surprised when she saw Mu Chi-Chi. I think your hair is very beautiful today. Shin Rui smiled when she heard the compliment. I learned it overseas. I will teach you how to braid it someday. Third aunt stood aside and pulled her cloak. She rolled her eyes at them and muttered, What do you mean by beautiful? You are just an illegitimate child. What is there to praise? We can leave after Grandpa has changed. Shin Rui was not affected by her mother at all. She was very friendly to Mu Chi-Chi. Mu Chi-Chi put on a fake smile. She knew that third aunt, who was not far from her, had a resentful look on her face. Soon, Grandpa Shin walked out of the room. He was wearing a blue striped suit. He looked very energetic. Since you are ready, let's go. Mu Chi-Chi went forward and held Grandpa Shin's arm. Shin Rui was pulled aside by third aunt. She secretly gave Shin Rui a bag and put it in her silver handbag. If you want to embarrass the girl tonight, you can apply this on her body. It will cause an allergic reaction. Be careful. Mom. Shin Rui was shocked. Don't be stubborn. You have to fight for your future. Aren't you afraid now that your grandfather likes this illegitimate child so much? Shin Rui was helpless. But she did not get angry at her mother. She would never use the thing her mother prepared. But she did not have time to take it out. So, she could only put it in her handbag. The three of them got into the car. But Grandpa Shin looked at Shin Rui. Rui, you are the eldest sister of the Shin family. Don't be bewitched by some evil tricks. Grandpa, don't worry. I will take good care of Chi-Chi. Shin Rui smiled and held Mu Chi-Chi's hand. If it was someone else, they would have long fallen in love with this elder sister, right? Chapter 200. Especially when Shin Rui was so friendly to her. Even Grandpa Shin would be suspicious. Chi-Chi, don't be nervous at the banquet tonight. They are my old comrades. They won't make things difficult for you. I know, Grandpa. Anyway, she was used to gossip. She would easily become the topic of gossip when she was in such a situation. She was a twin. How could she have two fathers? It was normal for others to be curious. She could pretend that she did not hear anything as long as it was not too much. I will keep a close eye on Chi-Chi's location, Shinrui said to the two of them. Grandpa Shin was very satisfied with his two granddaughters. One was talented in literature and the other was logical. They were both good descendants of the Shin family. They had brought glory to the Shin family. Soon, the car of the Shin family arrived at the entrance of the hotel where the banquet was held. The hotel staff helped Chi-Chi get off the car. Grandpa Lin, the protagonist of the birthday banquet, was standing at the entrance. He was wearing a white suit and looked quite handsome. When he saw his old comrade, he quickly came to welcome him. Just call him Grandpa Lin later. I will bring you along, Shinrui reminded Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi nodded and followed Grandpa Shin with Shinrui. Rui has become prettier. Grandpa Lin looked at Shinrui and smiled warmly. Then, he looked at Chi-Chi. He seemed to understand what was going on. He said to Grandpa Shin, "You are indeed Jinchuan's daughter. You are so handsome. Don't say that. She is still a little girl. She will have to rely on the elders to take care of her in the future. Please come in." After some polite greetings, the three of them entered the banquet hall. Looking at the colorful decorations of the banquet hall, and seeing that most of the guests were dressed in military uniforms, Chi-Chi knew very well that it was no wonder that her third aunt was trying so hard not to let her take the limelight for herself on such an occasion. Chi-Chi tilted her head and looked at Shinrui. She knew most of the guests because they often walked around. So, she was not so nervous when she greeted someone she was familiar with. "Hey, Rui, is this your younger sister?" A woman in a red dress stopped and looked at Chi-Chi. She asked Shinrui. "Yes, Aunt Yao." Shinrui greeted her politely. Then, she said to Chi-Chi, "This is Aunt Yao." "Hello, Aunt Yao." She looked at Chi-Chi and pursed her lips into a smile. She nodded in acknowledgement, but her gaze was so meaningful that it made people choke on their throats and mind it very much. Then, the woman left. Shinrui turned around and said to Chi-Chi, "Stay away from her. She's quite a gossip." Wasn't this gossip? Now, he was chatting with someone else, and he kept glancing at Chi-Chi. Grandpa Shin was greeting everyone along the way. So, Chi-Chi was led by Shinrui. So, Shinrui brought Chi-Chi to the place where the young men and ladies gathered together. "Rui, is this your sister?" There were 5 or 6 people standing in front of him. They were both men and women, and they were all about 18 or 19 years old. However, each of them had a confident attitude on their faces. One look and you could tell that they had extraordinary backgrounds. Shinrui looked at Chi-Chi and nodded. "Yes, my sister." The man didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he turned around and said to his friends, "Have you heard about this girl's background? It's interesting." Shinrui's expression changed when she heard that. She looked at Chi-Chi. But Chi-Chi didn't have much reaction. It was because she was already mentally prepared for it. "I heard that her mother and 2 men. That's why they gave birth to a pair of twins. I heard from my mother that the young master of the Shin family was a man with a heavy taste when he was young. I didn't expect him to have such a taste." Knowing that they were up to no good, Shinrui turned around with Chi-Chi. "Don't listen to them. The kids who grew up in the military are all lawless and spoiled. They don't care about other people's feelings. They only think that it's fun. Then, I'll go and humiliate them." Chi-Chi got rid of Shinrui's hand and went back to the 5 men. Chi-Chi. Shinrui was anxious. She was afraid that Chi-Chi would make a fool of herself. But, Chi-Chi wouldn't accept it. She asked them directly, "Do you think that my family background is cool?" None of them expected Muchichi to provoke them so bluntly, and all 5 of them looked at her with interest. We are wondering why you still have the cheek to appear here. Don't you think that your family background is embarrassing? I don't think so, Muchichi answered calmly. She didn't look down on herself at all. That's interesting. Don't you know that half of the people in this banquet are talking about you behind your back? One of the boys who was wearing a white suit said, "If I were you, I would have crawled into a hole in the ground." How shameless. So, what's the role of your parents in this banquet? A major general in the army. He has great achievements, the boy said proudly. Even a major general can only cultivate a person who talks behind people's back. He's a sneaky person who bullies the weak and fears the strong. Muchichi retorted calmly. What's wrong with my family background? Does it bother you? A major general's upbringing is just a so-so. Let me ask you again. What are your achievements? You're already 18 or 19 years old. Don't tell me that you only know how to eat, drink, and have fun. The boy stuttered when he was asked about his shortcomings. I know that you will talk behind people's backs. You guys look like good friends. So, I have reason to believe that you will be marked by the company you keep. Do you think that I want to be respected by you? You think too highly of yourself. They were so angry that their faces turned red. But they didn't dare to be presumptuous because their parents were there. But Muchichi was different. It was her first time here. Even if she did something wrong, she would be forgiven first. Shenrui witnessed the whole process of Muchichi's retaliation. She was worried that Muchichi would say something vulgar and bring shame to the Shin family. Chichi, don't bother with these people. Just stay away from them. They're just a bunch of rich men. They might come to find trouble with you. Sure. Muchichi was not afraid. She was being bullied now. How was she different from before? Chapter 201. I'm fine, Grandpa. I was humiliated by a few kids just now. But it's fine now, Grandpa. Shinrui's answer was on the top. Muchichi's answer was on the bottom. Grandpa Shin glanced at Muchichi and asked her, how did they humiliate you? Muchichi told Grandpa Mu everything from the beginning. She did not hide anything. But in Shinrui's eyes, Muchichi was just looking for trouble. Because she was not the one who was bullied. She just wanted to maintain her image as a well-mannered person. She did not want to have any conflict with anyone at the scene. But Muchichi was not afraid of fighting. Grandpa Shin's eyes darkened when he heard that. He asked Muchichi, tell me, which kids did you bully? Muchichi pointed at the few people beside her. Grandpa Shin immediately recognized those children. They were the devil's incarnations. It was his granddaughter's first time attending such a banquet. She was humiliated in front of everyone. No one would be able to accept it. Grandpa, it's just a quarrel between kids. It's not as serious as you think. Shinrui tried to calm Grandpa Shin down immediately. If you go and find trouble with those kids, I won't be able to get along with them anymore. Grandpa Shin did not say anything. He just looked at Shinrui with a meaningful gaze. I don't want to spend too much time with them. Muchichi told Shinrui frankly. Sister Rui, you can stay away from me if you don't want to get involved. Little girl, follow me. Grandpa Shin protected Muchichi by his side. Then, he brought her back to his comrades. But, Muchichi's action had alerted the parents of the kids. They were not from ordinary families. So, it was inevitable that they would feel embarrassed. Old General Shin, your granddaughter is really eloquent. It's the first time that she made the devil of the family so angry with just a few words. But, it's just a quarrel between kids. I hope you won't mind it. The Major General's father walked up to the old man and spoke in a strange tone. Grandpa Shin smiled and patted Muchichi's shoulder. He replied, "It's important to know one's place. You should know what you should say and what you shouldn't. I'm afraid you should go back and teach your son a lesson. Otherwise, even if my granddaughter doesn't teach him a lesson today, he will be taught a lesson by someone else. Of course, I won't take such a small matter to heart. However, if my granddaughter is unhappy, I won't be happy either. Today is Elder Lin's birthday, so it's not appropriate for me to lose my temper here. But, even though I'm retired, I still believe that my words carry some weight. Major General Zhong, you should behave yourself. You don't have to worry about that. I'm more worried about you, old Shin. After all, this is the world of the young. Aren't you afraid that your granddaughter will cause a disaster one day? Of course, the other party wouldn't be afraid of a retired old chief." Grandpa Shin smiled calmly, but he was not afraid at all. Just then, the Lin family knew that Grandpa Shin had a conflict with someone, so they quickly came to mediate. "Oh, is everyone laughing at the Lin family for not taking good care of them? Both of you are people of high status. I hope that old Shin and Major General Zhong can be kind to each other for my father's sake. You're humiliating someone else's family matter in public. Are you saying that the Shin family is in the wrong?" Grandpa Shin's voice became a little sharper. "You have to be taught a lesson if you're not taught well. Old Shin, don't cross the line." The Major General couldn't let go of his pride. "If I'm crossing the line, why would I let my granddaughter be bullied by your son? You don't have the right to argue with me yet." Everyone was protective of their children, but old Master Xing had to tell the other party that Muchichi was not someone who could be bullied by anyone. His son was not someone who could be insulted and slandered by anyone. If he was bullied the first time, how was Xiaoqi going to attend such occasions in the future? Of course, both of them were embarrassed. But Muchichi and her granddaughter did not suffer any loss. Shinrui took a deep breath. She always wanted to be peaceful. She thought that she would not be liked by others if she competed with them. So, she thought that Muchichi should not make a big deal out of it. Her mother said that Muchichi had a low EQ, but she did not agree with it. But how could Muchichi not know about it? But, she had already said that she would not give in on this kind of thing. It was not because she had a high EQ. If she still smiled when others were stepping on her head, that would be called stupid. She would not accept this kind of thing even if it was 100 years later. More and more people were talking about Muchichi in the banquet hall. Of course, there were different opinions about her. But, she did not care about other people's opinions. It was more important for her to live comfortably. At that moment, there was a commotion in the crowd. Muchichi looked towards the entrance of the hotel. She saw a man in a black suit entering the banquet hall with Jing Yun. "You must be Xing Xiao. Didn't you say that sixth brother is coming?" The guests were paying close attention to the Crown Prince of Huangyao. It could not be helped. He was the center of attention no matter where he went. Muchichi looked at Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao looked at Muchichi too. How many people in the banquet hall greeted Xing Xiao? But, he did not respond to them. He would respond to the elders. But, he would not even look at those who were not important to him. Muchichi was afraid that her relationship with Xing Xiao would be exposed. So, she turned around and looked at Shinrui. But, in a blink of an eye, she saw Shinrui looking at Xing Xiao. She could not fake the admiration and surprise in her eyes. Suddenly, she understood why Shinrui wanted to get close to her. No wonder Shinrui noticed Xing Xiao's English name. But, Muchichi looked away quietly. Then, she saw Xing Xiao walking to her and Grandpa Shin. Uncle Shin. You are here too. Grandpa Shin smiled at him. Xing Xiao was an important person. He knew what was going on when he saw the situation in front of him. He patted Mu Chi-Chi's head and protected her. Did the little girl get into trouble? She did not get into trouble. But, she was bullied. Grandpa Shin looked at Major General Zhong. Xing Xiao knew what he meant. He smiled and said, I will take care of her. You can relax now. Then take good care of Xiao Qi for me. The old man ordered. If she gets talked about again, I'll make trouble for you. Chapter 202. People were afraid of Xing Xiao because Xing Xiao was not someone who could be persuaded by force or persuasion. Moreover, he did things according to his mood. He had many ways to take revenge. Most importantly, he would always remember that grudge in his heart. Major General Zhong restrained himself when he saw Xing Xiao supporting Mu Chi-Chi. He did not think for himself. He had to think for his son. Offending Xing Xiao might not end well. He did not want his son to wake up on a mountain 4,000 meters above sea level. He did not want his son to wake up one day. Xing Xiao often did that to others. Major General Zhong wanted to turn and leave without drawing attention, but Xing Xiao saw him turn and quickly called out, Major General Zhong, if I hear your son speaking rudely to Mu Chi-Chi in public like this again, he's going to suffer. There are 5 of them. Are you going to teach each of them a lesson? There are 5 of them. I will spend more money. I have money. Major General Zhong did not look happy. But he could not do anything to Xing Xiao. So, he could only swallow his anger and leave. Humph, these people are really afraid of the strong and bully the weak. Grandpa Shin snorted when he saw that. I am getting old. I am not as strong as I used to be. That's because they underestimate your power. Grandpa Shin did not make any guesses about their relationship. Because they were each other's benefactors. So, he understood that Xing Xiao would want to protect Mu Chi-Chi in such a situation. Then, I will leave it to you. Grandpa Shin smiled and pushed Mu Chi-Chi closer to Xing Xiao. Don't cause trouble for your uncle Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao raised his eyebrows at Mu Chi-Chi. He had something to tell her. But, Shenrui came up to him and greeted him. Uncle Xiao, do you remember me? Xing Xiao glanced at Shenrui. Then, he asked casually, who are you? I am, forget it. I don't need to know who you are. It's a waste of time to remember your name. Come with me. Xing Xiao did not allow Shenrui to finish her sentence. He dragged Mu Chi-Chi away immediately. Now that Xing Xiao was by Mu Chi-Chi's side, everyone was looking at them again. The crown prince of the Xing family seems to have something to do with that girl from the Shin family. No wonder he's so arrogant. It turns out that he has the crown prince behind him. Why would the scions of the aristocratic families fear him? That was because Xing Xiao was a ruthless character who showed no mercy to outsiders. He did not even care about his own family and friends. If he provoked someone, he would immediately tease them to death. He would use any kind of torture to show off. That was why he was such a famous demon in the outside world. Xing Xiao brought Mu Chi-Chi to the buffet counter and asked her to get some snacks. On the way here, she had texted Xing Xiao that she had not eaten anything, and Xing Xiao remembered that the little one had not filled her stomach, so he asked her to fill the bottom first. Xiao, I think Shenrui approached me because of you. She likes you. Mu Chi-Chi held the plate and stared at the man beside her. Xing Xiao looked at Mu Chi-Chi abruptly. Was the little one getting jealous? I'll say it again. I don't have any impression of her. Xing Xiao answered Muchichi directly. She's just an insignificant person, but she approached me because she wants to get close to you. But I know my Xiao Qi will not let her get close to me. Xing Xiao smiled confidently. He sounded like he was asking for a beating. Muchichi glared at him. This man was really annoying. Don't worry. No one in this world is your match, okay? After teasing Muchichi, he smiled and added. Muchichi smiled as well. She took some snacks and sat at the banquet table. Xing Xiao sat next to her and put his right hand on the back of Muchichi's chair. He looked as if he was protecting her. No one would dare to be presumptuous towards Muchichi anymore. Muchichi smiled. She took a seat next to Muchichi. Not far away, Shenrui was envious of Muchichi. She was so envious that her eyes turned red. For so many years, she could only look at Xing Xiao from afar. She never had the chance to be so close to Xing Xiao like Muchichi did. She wanted to be close to Xing Xiao too. But Xing Xiao did not remember her at all. He did not remember her. So, being nice to Muchichi was the only way for her to get close to Xing Xiao. But when she lowered her head, she suddenly thought of the things in her handbag. She was very nervous because she had never done such a bad thing before. But she did not want to miss such an opportunity. Shenrui was struggling in her heart. Muchichi ate the pastries with satisfaction. She felt more full now. But Grandpa Xing suddenly walked toward them. He said to Muchichi, "Chichi, come with me. I'll bring you to meet Grandpa Lin's grandson." Muchichi was stunned. She turned and looked at Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao was expressionless. But Muchichi could feel that he was trying his best to control himself. So, Muchichi smiled and said to Grandpa Xing, "Grandpa, I'm still hungry. It's not good for my image now. They won't mind. Get up. Grandpa, I really don't want to get to know the young master of the Lin family. Can you let me be more comfortable?" Muchichi felt helpless. So, she told Grandpa Xing directly, "I have a boyfriend outside." "Are you lying to me?" Grandpa Xing stared at her. "Even if it's true, it's just a boyfriend. You're not married. I'm just asking you to get to know him. What are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid." She was afraid that the man beside her would eat her up. Shenrui walked toward them. She helped Grandpa Xing to persuade Muchichi. "The young master of the Lin family is really handsome. You'll like him, Chichi." "I think my sister is more suitable." "Grandpa, please don't force me. Can you?" Grandpa Xing took a deep breath helplessly. He pointed at her and looked disappointed. "You're such a stupid girl." "It's good to be stupid," Muchichi said. "Bring your boyfriend home and let me have a look at him." Then, Grandpa Xing left. She could tell that he was very disappointed. Muchichi looked at the so-called young master of the Lin family through the crowd. She was not interested at all. But Shenrui still felt that the matter was not serious enough. She continued to persuade her. "Chichi, Mu-en is really a good girl. You'll like him. You shouldn't reject my kindness." "Sister Rui, I said I have a boyfriend." Muchichi explained patiently. Shenrui did not give up. She added, "You'll know my kindness in the future." Chapter 203. Lin Mu-en was handsome, especially his long and narrow eyes. He was really attractive. Such a man seemed to be full of emotions. Just look at what he said. It was really attractive. "Mu-en, you and Muchichi seem to be a good match." Shenrui smiled. "Really? Thank you, Sister Rui. But Lin Mu and glanced at Xing Xiao, who was standing beside Mu Qiqi. He greeted him politely. Nice to meet you, Crown Prince. Xing Xiao looked up at Lin Mu, but that glance was all it took for Lin Mu to understand, and he quickly added, but I think that Miss Qiqi doesn't like to be interfered with by elders, and I happen to be the same. Xing Xiao looked at Lin Mu with his chin and gave him a satisfied look. You are sensible. Lin Mu laughed in his mind. He was worried for himself. Was Grandpa Shin setting him up? How could he get to know the person whom the Crown Prince was protecting? Others might not be able to see it. But he was an experienced man in love. He could see the murderous look in his eyes. Feelings can be cultivated. Sister Rui, there are still many guests tonight. I'm sorry that I can't serve you well. I'll go now. Miss Mu Qiqi, nice to meet you. Lin Mu was sensible. He did not dare to offend her. Mu Qiqi had a good impression of Lin Mu. At least, he was more sensible than Shen Rui. She knew why Shen Rui helped her. Firstly, she wanted Mu Qiqi to owe her a favor. Secondly, she wanted to get close to Xing Xiao. But she certainly didn't know that her action made Xing Xiao want to strangle her. Soon, everyone had a new direction for gossip. Even the young master of the Lin family took the initiative to get to know her, but she ignored him. What was so charming about Mu Qiqi? The others really wanted to know why, especially since Xing Xiao was so protective of the little one. Shen Rui was so jealous. She did not realize how jealous she was. Uncle Xiao, you really love Mu Qiqi. Don't eat too much. You'll have a stomachache later. Xing Xiao ignored Shen Rui and reminded Mu Qiqi. Shen Rui felt awkward. She turned around and left. On the other hand, the children who argued with Mu Qiqi just now laughed at Shen Rui. You treat her as your younger sister, but she doesn't treat you as her elder sister. Look at her. You don't even exist in her eyes. Shen Rui looked at them. Although what they said was unpleasant, it was the truth. She was so nice to Mu Qiqi, but Mu Qiqi did not care about her at all. Shen Rui's grip on her purse tightened when she thought about it. It was not a big deal that Mu Qiqi was in the limelight at the banquet. After all, she did not care about that. But Mu Qiqi had stolen Xing Xiao's attention, and that was something she could not tolerate. So, she felt that she did not need to worry too much. So, when everyone was gathered in the banquet hall, Shen Rui went to the washroom with her handbag. Then, she looked for the hotel service staff and told them something. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi noticed that there were too many eyes on them. She quickly said to Xing Xiao, you should go and walk around too. Otherwise, I'll become public enemy number 1. What are you afraid of? Xing Xiao asked. But, he still got up from his seat and walked to the elders. Then, he talked to the guests. Of course, the guests also wanted to know why he was so protective of this little one. The Crown Prince seems to like this girl from the Shin family. Is there any special reason? The guests obviously wanted to know the gossip. This little one saved my life. She is my benefactor. Xing Xiao held his wine glass and smiled. So, I can't bear to see others bully her. The other party suddenly realized that the two of them had such a relationship. No wonder Xing Xiao was being so considerate. Then, you should repay her well. Xing Xiao purposely revealed the fact that Mu Qiqi was his benefactor. He wanted to prevent others from guessing. Besides, he wanted to let everyone know that Mu Qiqi was the person Xing Xiao wanted to repay. No one could touch her. To have you protecting this little girl, it's really a blessing from 3 lifetimes. Lin Mu'en, who was standing aside, rolled his eyes elegantly. Xing Xiao's words were only meant to brush off the older generation. He was a sharp-eyed man, and he could tell that the relationship between Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi was not ordinary, all right? Of course, he would not offend the crown prince for no reason. After all, he still had the ability to help others. But, did they not care about the difference in seniority between them? Moreover, he found Mu Qiqi very interesting. She fought against 5 people at the same time and fought against the children of the aristocratic families. Her courage was not something an ordinary daughter of a rich family would have. He wanted to see how far Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi could go. After all, he thought that most of these relationships would end in vain. Moreover, it happened to the crown prince. That was the Xing family. Soon, the banquet was about to begin. The guests entered the dining hall one after another. At this time, although Mu Qiqi was following behind Grandpa Xin, her eyes were fixed on Xing Xiao. She wanted to know where this man was sitting. Grandpa Xin must be chatting with the elders. But the juniors had their own places to go. Mu Qiqi could not be separated from Shenrui. So, when Shenrui called her, she walked over and sat beside Shenrui. Because Mu Qiqi was concerned about where Xing Xiao would be sitting, she did not notice that her chair was different from the others. Shenrui did not touch the chair at all. She only glanced at the back of the chair from the corner of her eyes. Grandpa Lin went to the stage to give his speech. Soon, the banquet began. Mu Qiqi saw Xing Xiao, who was not far away from her. Xing Xiao looked back at her and comforted her. "Be good. I will bring you home later." Mu Qiqi did not mind that Xing Xiao was not by her side. But after a while, she felt that her back was itchy. So, she scratched it subconsciously. Then, she rubbed her fingers and found something powdery. She brought it to her nose and sniffed it. Shenrui saw her action and asked, "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" "Nothing." Mu Qiqi shook her head. But if Mu Qiqi observed carefully, she could see that Shenrui was a little nervous. After all, she had never done such a thing before. She just wanted to show off in front of Xing Xiao. So, she could only let Mu Qiqi suffer. But, she seemed to have forgotten something. Mu Qiqi was a medical student. Chapter 204. Shenrui noticed that Mu Qiqi was restless. She quickly looked at her body. She noticed that her back was red and swollen. She exclaimed, "Qiqi, your back, it's red and swollen. It's so big." Mu Qiqi was having a hard time holding it in. Shenrui stood up and said, "I'll send you to the hospital now." Xing Xiao noticed Mu Qiqi's condition. He got up from his seat and walked toward them. Because Xing Xiao was too eye-catching, many of the guests saw what happened. "What happened?" "Someone did something to my chair. It's been smeared with medicine." Mu Qiqi answered Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao steadied Mu Qiqi's body. Then, he looked at her back and frowned. Soon, he called Jing Yun, who was outside the arena. "Buy all the anti-allergy drugs in the pharmacy, Uncle Xiao, I'll buy them for Qiqi." "It's okay." Mu Qiqi was suspicious of Shenrui. Shenrui seemed to have felt it too. She immediately explained to Mu Qiqi, "Qiqi, are you suspecting me? I didn't mean to get this position. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I'll go and buy the medicine for you now." Shenrui looked concerned and wronged. "Maybe it's those devils." Mu Qiqi did not want to wrong Shenrui. "Wait for me. I'll buy the medicine for you now. I'll be back soon." Shenrui looked nervous. Then, she got up from the chair. If Mu Qiqi guessed it right, it should be sulfonamide. It was used to treat burns. But if it was overdosed, it would cause allergic reactions. Xing Xiao did not care about Shenrui at all. He did not care that Shenrui wanted his attention. Xing Xiao knew that his little one was suffering. So, he helped her up from the chair. Then, he took off his suit jacket and put it on her. Then, he left with her. Shenrui did not expect Xing Xiao to be so excited. She followed behind them. It was a good chance to show off. What's wrong? Grandpa Shen looked at the three of them from afar. Why did they stand up from the dining table instead of eating? Shenrui wanted to explain. But Xing Xiao had already helped Mu Qiqi up. He said to Grandpa Shen, "Xiao Qi is allergic. I'll send her to the hospital now." "Why are you allergic?" The chair was smeared with medicine. "You'll have to ask your granddaughter why she chose that spot out of all the others." "Old Shen, I've said it before. If the Shen family doesn't like Qiqi, the Xing family can raise her." Grandpa Shen understood what Xing Xiao meant. Seeing that Mu Qiqi was really upset, he said, "I will find out the truth and give you an explanation." Xing Xiao did not say anything. He held Mu Qiqi and turned around. When he saw Shenrui behind them, he immediately said to her, "You don't have to follow us. I'm worried about Qiqi, you don't have to worry about her." With that, he left the birthday party with Mu Qiqi. Shenrui stopped. She had mixed feelings. She wanted to act like a sincere sister. But when she chased after them, Xing Xiao had already left with Mu Qiqi. Since Shenrui was sitting with Mu Qiqi, she was definitely a suspect. Of course, Shenrui was a smart person. She knew that Xing Xiao and Grandpa Shen were suspecting her. But she did it on purpose. It was better than Xing Xiao not remembering her at all. On the other hand, Mu Qiqi was sitting in the passenger seat. She wanted to scratch her back. "Don't scratch me again. I'm not careful enough." Mu Qiqi frowned. There were beads of sweat on her forehead. While Xing Xiao was driving, he called Jing Yun. "Don't buy the medicine yet. Go to the hotel and get the surveillance footage first. It's not that serious." "We found it early," said Mu Qiqi. "Xiao Xiao, you have to believe me. I'm a medical student. I know the dosage. Do you have any idea?" Xing Xiao wanted to ask the suspect. It's hard to guard against a sneaky person. But I can't rule out Shenrui's suspicion. Mu Qiqi felt uncomfortable. Because Shenrui was too worried about her, she had doubts in her heart. "Xiao Xiao, if it's the Shen family's business, don't interfere. If it wasn't for the fact that you're our benefactor, we would have been exposed to all kinds of rumors. Little one, is this what you should worry about?" "Ha!" Xing Xiao sneered. If he was not confident, why would he show up? "I know better than you. I can guess what those people are thinking even with my eyes closed. No one is my match when it comes to playing with people's hearts." Mu Qiqi endured the itch. She knew that she had to be more vigilant in the future. Because Shenrui might use her to get close to Xing Xiao. The Lin family was alarmed when Xing Xiao left with Mu Qiqi. So, the Lin family asked Lin Mu and to apologize to Grandpa Shen after the banquet. Grandpa Shen heard Lin Mu An's apology. He waved his hand and said that it was not the Lin family's fault. Moreover, he went to Shenrui's side after explaining the reason to his comrades. Shenrui's mind was filled with the image of Xing Xiao leaving with Mu Qiqi. So, she was in a daze during the banquet. She was not afraid of being found out. She was just thinking about whether it was worthwhile to do it. "Rui, what is going on?" Shenrui was confused when she saw Grandpa Shen sitting down. "Grandpa, I don't know why Mu Qiqi is allergic. I saw an empty seat here after we entered the banquet. So, I saved one for Mu Qiqi." I don't know why this happened either. What is the truth? The CCTV can't lie to us. Grandpa Shin was not easy to fool. But he could not hurt his granddaughter's feelings. So, his voice was gentle. Rui, I know that your mother does not like Muchichi. But I hope that you will not become like your mother. It happened at the Lin family's banquet. So, Lin moved and asked someone to take away the chair that Muchichi was sitting on. He asked the doctor to do a full examination. He also checked the CCTV to find out who was the most suspicious person. It was obvious that she did not respect the Lin family by doing such a thing at the Lin family's banquet. Grandpa, don't suspect me. Am I not good enough to Muchichi? Shinrui asked Grandpa Shin. I understand that you suspect Mommy. But, I am me and Mommy is Mommy. I hope that you can believe me. I will never hurt Muchichi. Muchichi's identity is special. She was born in a special family. I can understand that outsiders look down on her and bully her. But, I can't stand it when a family member attacks another family member. I just want to be frank with you. Whether it is Muchichi who treats you or you who treats Muchichi, I hope that you will be like sisters and care for each other. I want to find out who is the one who has the dirty tricks. Chapter 205. Grandpa, I really didn't do it. You can ask Mu and to investigate it. Shinrui was very sure. Grandpa Shin looked deeply into his granddaughter's eyes. Seeing that she did not avoid his gaze, he nodded. Grandpa understands. Grandpa will investigate thoroughly and prove your innocence. Pack up, say goodbye to the Lin family, and then go home. Shinrui nodded. But she still looked aggrieved. The two of them walked to Grandpa Lin. The Lin family apologized to Grandpa Shin. It's our fault for not taking good care of Chi-Chi. What are you talking about? It's not a big deal. I just hope that Mu and will visit the Shin family often in the future. After chatting for a while, Old Master Lin sent Old Master Shin out of the hotel. After Grandpa Shin got into the car, he felt upset when he saw that Chi-Chi was not with him. Shinrui was expressionless too. But it was not because she was worried about Muchichi. It was because she did not maximize the value of this matter. On the other hand, Xing Xiao and Muchichi had already returned home. After a checkup, the drugs on Muchichi's body were indeed sulfonamides. Fortunately, she discovered it early and there was no big problem. After reaching home, Muchichi gave Grandpa Shin a call to make sure that she had taken her medicine and would be fine after a night's sleep. Grandpa Shin asked Muchichi to rest early. But Shinrui said, Grandpa, let's go to the small villa to visit Muchichi. Then, we will feel more at ease. In fact, the old man also wanted to see his granddaughter. It's on the way, and it's close to the villa. At this moment, Grandpa Shin had hung up the phone. He did not tell Muchichi that he was rushing to the small villa with Shinrui. More importantly, Muchichi and Xing Xiao were not at the small mansion right now. After talking to Grandpa Shin, Muchichi also called Suzy Pei. She told Suzy Pei not to worry. But she did not know that 20 minutes later, Grandpa Shin's car drove into the small villa. Seeing that the lights in the villa were on, Shinrui immediately said to Grandpa Shin, I'll knock on the door. Grandpa Shin nodded and followed Shinrui. Soon, Suzy Pei opened the door and walked out of the living room. Suzy Pei did not know Shinrui, but she knew Grandpa Shin. She was shocked when she saw Grandpa Shin coming to the small villa without any warning. But she maintained her composure. Miss Su, is Chi-Chi asleep? Grandpa Su asked quickly. I slept for a while. Suzy Pei looked upstairs and replied, but don't worry. She has taken her medicine. Do you want me to go upstairs and call her? If it's convenient. Shinrui answered politely, Hello, Aunt. I'm Shinrui, Chi-Chi's cousin. Su Zipei nodded and said to Lu Wenhua in the living room, Wenhua, go upstairs and call Chi-Chi. Tell her that Grandpa is here to see her. Mu Chi-Chi wasn't even in the small mansion at the moment. Where could he go to get her? But Lu Wenhua reacted quickly. He went upstairs and knocked on Mu Chi-Chi's door. He called her name and pretended that they were having a conversation. After a while, Lu Wenhua went downstairs and said to Grandpa Shin, Grandpa Shin, I think it's better to let Chi-Chi sleep first today. She has taken her medicine and is very dizzy now. We don't want her to wake up again. Grandpa Shin felt that it was reasonable. He took 2 steps back and said, Then, I will come tomorrow. Okay, I will send you off. Grandpa Shin waved his hand and pointed at the driveway behind him. We will go back since it's on the way. You should rest early. Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua looked at each other. After sending them off, they heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, Grandpa Shin believes me. Otherwise, I don't know how to explain myself if he asks about Chi-Chi's whereabouts. I don't know how long we can hide it from him. Lu Wenhua was worried. It's not easy to fool the Shin family. Moreover, Grandpa Shin really cares about Chi-Chi. I don't know how he will feel if he knows about the relationship between Chi-Chi and young Master Sheng. It can't be helped. They are not related by blood. If they are separated because of such a ridiculous seniority, Chi-Chi will be very sad. I believe in young Master Sheng. He will make the best arrangements. Wenhua, don't worry. Of course, Lu Wenhua trusted Xing Xiao. But, he was still worried about Chi-Chi. After all, he was Chi-Chi's uncle now. Grandpa Shin did not notice anything wrong. But, it was different for Shinrui. She had good hearing. She did not hear Mu Chi-Chi's voice at all. Moreover, there were Mu Chi-Chi's shoes on the shoe cabinet at the door. Did she not need to change her shoes? She felt that Mu Chi-Chi's aunt was hiding something. But, she was not sure. She could not tell Grandpa Shin. Otherwise, Grandpa Shin would say that she was trying to stir up trouble again. But, she felt that there was something wrong with Mu Chi-Chi. So, she could only wait for further verification. It was already 11:00 at night when they returned to the Shin family. Third daughter-in-law was still waiting in the living room. She had heard about what happened at the banquet from her friend. Mu Chi-Chi was allergic and Grandpa Shin questioned her daughter. It was fine that Mu Chi-Chi was in the limelight. It was fine that Xing Xiao was involved in it. But, why was Grandpa Shin so biased towards Mu Chi-Chi? Mom, why aren't you sleeping yet? I'm waiting for you. I'm worried about you. Apart from me, who else in this family will treat you sincerely? Third daughter-in-law pulled Shinrui to her side in an exaggerated manner. She sounded angry. Dad, Mu Chi-Chi is unlucky. She fell into someone else's trap. Why are you blaming Rui? Mom, you don't know what happened at that time. Shinrui explained quickly. I only know that your grandpa doesn't trust you at all. He only has Mu Chi-Chi in his heart now. So, are you going to argue with me? Grandpa Shin turned around and looked at third daughter-in-law coldly. Dad, you're being unreasonable. I'm afraid that things will turn out like this. It's fine that you love Mu Chi-Chi. You want to be fair. But, Mu Chi-Chi was tricked. Why are you blaming Rui? If this goes on, we'll all move away. Grandpa Shin snorted coldly and ignored third daughter-in-law. After Grandpa Shin left, third daughter-in-law grabbed Shinrui and asked, Did you really use the medicine? Shinrui's gaze changed. She did not answer her mother's question. Instead, she walked quickly to her room. Answer me, my daughter. Shinrui did not answer her mother. Because she knew that her mother wanted her to marry into the Lin family. But, she was not interested in the Lin family at all. She was just thinking about how she could get closer to Xingxiao. Obviously, Muqiqi was the only way. But, if she did that today, Muqiqi. Chapter 206. But, if she told Muqiqi about it, everything would be over if Muqiqi did not keep her mouth shut. Especially if Grandpa and the others knew about it. So, Shinrui decided not to tell Muqiqi that she liked Xingxiao. After all, she could always find another chance. But, if Muqiqi found out about it, she would be in a passive position. Moreover, Muqiqi was not a person who could adapt to circumstances. She was unmoved by force or persuasion. No one knew who taught her that, but she was so similar to Xingxiao. She simply wouldn't know that Muqiqi was Xingxiao's proudest masterpiece. Not long after Grandpa Shin and Muqiqi left, Su Zipei told Muqiqi about Grandpa Shin and Muqiqi's visit. Although they managed to send Grandpa Shin away this time, it was hard to guarantee that there would be a next time. Moreover, Muqiqi felt uncomfortable when she knew that Shinrui liked Xingxiao. Xingxiao saw Muqiqi lying beside him without saying a word. So, he put down the ointment and pinched Muqiqi's nose. What are you thinking about? Why are you so deep in thought? I just feel that our relationship is getting more and more tense. If Shinrui really likes you, I can't get along with her openly. It's not right. I don't want to be a white lotus. Although Grandpa managed to fool him tonight, he will know that I don't live in the villa one day. So, do you feel guilty when you are with me? Xingxiao asked her. I just feel that we won't be able to keep it a secret any longer. What should we do then? Muqiqi asked Xingxiao helplessly. She seemed to be really confused. No matter what happens in the end, no one can shake your position. Xingxiao hugged Muqiqi in his arms. No one can stop you from being my little lover. So, just do what you think is right. Don't worry about anything. Okay. Muqiqi buried her head in his chest. I believe you. I like you the most, Xiao Xiao. Since Shinrui's matter had troubled his little one, he would certainly think of a way to solve it. Moreover, it would not be an ordinary way because it would not be able to solve Shinrui's problem. He had to find a way to solve the problem once and for all. Xingxiao hugged Muqiqi and patted her back. After a while, he heard Muqiqi say, I will draw a line with Shinrui tomorrow. You are mine. Muqiqi was stunned. In the darkness, Xingxiao smiled and kissed Muqiqi's ear softly. Wasn't it hell for him to be with Muqiqi? It was just as torturous. But for this little one, he would use all his means and strength. The next day, because it was the weekend, Muqiqi prepared some gifts for Shinrui. Then, she brought them to the Shin family. On the other hand, she wanted to cover up the lie she told last night. Why are you here so early in the morning? If you're not feeling well, you should rest more, Grandpa Xing said. I wanted to see Sister Rui, so I came here. Moreover, I was asleep when you came to see me last night. I feel bad for making you come here for nothing. Go. Go and see your sister. Grandpa Xing saw her holding the gifts. He thought that they would become good sisters. He was happy. But, Muqiqi was here to return the favor. Shenrui felt strange when she saw Muqiqi handing over the gifts. I gave you those gifts for our first meeting. I don't want you to return the gifts. We're sisters. Sister Rui, I'm not a likable person. I don't like to hide things. I feel uneasy when you give me such expensive gifts. I'll feel better if you give me these gifts. If that's the case, then fine. But, Chi-Chi, did you misunderstand what happened last night? I really didn't know that on the chair. It has nothing to do with that. Shinrui looked at Mu-Chi-Chi carefully. She saw the alienation in her eyes. She nodded. It's good that you didn't misunderstand. Then, I'll go fishing with Grandpa. Shinrui smiled at her. She did not force her. After Mu-Chi-Chi left, Shinrui felt that her efforts were in vain. Mu-Chi-Chi was not just unlikable. She was a tough person. She was like a porcupine. She was hard to deal with. Third aunt saw her daughter's expression when she entered the room. She asked about it and found out that Mu-Chi-Chi was here to return the gifts. Why did you flatter that B***starred for no reason? Why is she worth your effort? You should have put the medicine into her mouth last night and disfigured her face. Mom, you don't know anything. Since Mu-Chi-Chi did not appreciate her kindness, she did not need to waste her effort on Mu-Chi-Chi. Although Xing Xiao treated Mu-Chi-Chi well, she knew that Xing Xiao did not see Mu-Chi-Chi for a long time. Of course, it was third aunt who told her that. Because Jing Yun kept emphasizing that Xing Xiao and Mu-Chi-Chi were not as close as they thought. Grandpa Shin smiled when he saw Mu-Chi-Chi at the fish pond. Chi-Chi, tell me honestly. Do you suspect that your sister did what happened last night? Grandpa, my words do not carry much weight in the Shin family. Although second aunt and second uncle have accepted me, I am still an outsider to the others. Mu-Chi-Chi told Grandpa Shin frankly. You don't have to care about your third aunt. Grandpa, if I do something that makes you sad one day, will you still accept me as your granddaughter? Mu-Chi-Chi looked at Grandpa Shin's fishing rod. She wanted to know what Grandpa Shin would say. You are just like your father. You don't play by the rules. You don't have a strong sense of the world. You are not bound by it. I just hope that you will not regret anything you do. Mu-Chi-Chi smiled when she got the answer. Did he mean that he would allow her to get into trouble? Come, I will go fishing with you. Forget it. You can't sit still. I will ask Shenlin to do it. Not far from them, Shenlin had entered the fish pond too. Actually, he had been standing outside for a while. He could hear their conversation. To me, you're not an outsider. Chi-Chi, although I admit that I'm useless, you can tell me if you want to use your fists. Moreover, if I have to choose between you and Shinrui, I'll definitely choose to stand on your side. You have a cute side now. Tell me when you join the army. I will send you on your way. It's still early. I will join the army next spring. But, I am starting to learn how to exercise now. Shenlin was finally a man like this. Mu-Chi-Chi felt very pleased. Chapter 207. Mu-Chi-Chi stayed at the Shin's residence until 10 in the morning, before finding an excuse to leave. Then, she had Uncle Lin send her to the hotel they had agreed to meet at. By then, Xing Xiao and Lin Mu and were already in the private room. When she entered the private room, she saw Xing Xiao waving at her lazily. Come here, Lin Mu, and smiled. Just as I expected. Mu-Chi-Chi sat down beside Xing Xiao, and looked at Lin Mu and in confusion. Lin Mu and smiled and explained, it's because of the results of the investigation at the birthday banquet. I wanted to ask you out at first, but I didn't think it would be a good idea, so I called the Crown Prince. But I didn't expect that the Crown Prince's feelings for you were unusual, and I asked you out to verify my theory. So? Xing Xiao asked dangerously. I don't have any ulterior motives. I just think it's interesting, and a combination like you two is quite fresh. Knowing too much might not be a good thing. What are you talking about, Crown Prince? There are 1,000 ways to keep me from knowing, and it's clear that you trust me since you're being so generous. Lin moved and sipped his tea, his expression relaxed. So don't worry. I really want to know if you two could get together in the end. Just let me know if you need me. Do you think I lack a friend like you? Of course you don't, Crown Prince. But surely you do, Miss Chi-Chi. With that, he straightened his clothes and turned to them. Tell me about the results of last night's investigation. The drug on the chair, skip that. I know what it is. Mu Chi-Chi said straightforwardly. Well, according to the surveillance footage, there were several people who touched this chair, so we asked them all for questioning, but in the end, we didn't get anything out of them. However, there was one thing that didn't escape my eyes. That is, a person who didn't belong to this area also touched this chair, so I used some tricks to force a confession out of him. That person told me that it was Major General Zhong's son who asked him to do it. Didn't Miss Chi-Chi have a grudge with the Zhong family last night? So it's whoever he says. Xing Xiao clearly didn't believe the results. Lin moved and shrugged helplessly. I couldn't find any other evidence, but after what happened last night, Miss Chi-Chi has become famous. Now everyone knows that the Shin family's girl is very powerful. I think you're just being sarcastic. Mu Chi-Chi glared at him. Lin moved and raised his hands in surrender as he chewed on his food. I swear, I definitely didn't. Speaking of which, are there any other interesting ladies around Miss Chi-Chi? Why don't you introduce him to me? Seeing the two of you like this, I really want to date too. Mu Chi-Chi thought that Lin moved and looked like a veteran. Even if she had sisters, she would not dare to introduce them to him. Weren't they pushing their sisters into the fire pit? However, she had not seen Qian for a few days. She wondered if Qian had recovered from Duan Xiao An's incident. Just as she was thinking, Qian sent her a message, asking if Mu Chi-Chi was free in the afternoon to go shopping with her. Mu Chi-Chi smiled and replied that she was having lunch at the hotel and had time in the afternoon. Sometimes, best friends were like that. It was as if they had telepathy and could think of the same thing at the same time. Qian will come over later. You can go back to Huangyao by yourself. Don't worry about me. Mu Chi-Chi whispered to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao patted Mu Chi-Chi's head with a doting look that no one else could understand. Lin moved and was stunned. Since this is the result of the investigation, I will go to the Shin family in the afternoon. Because he knew that the result of the investigation would not affect Xing Xiao's judgment. The three of them finished their lunch happily. At that time, Qian arrived at the hotel. Xing Xiao went back to Huangyao while Lin Muhen and Mu Chi-Chi left the hotel together. They met Lu Qian at the entrance. Let's go. I want to go all out today. Qian opened the car door and let Mu Chi-Chi sit in the front passenger seat. The two of them did not say goodbye to Lin Muhen and left in front of him. Lin Muhen saw Lu Qian. He thought he knew the gossip in Jianchuan quite well. So, he knew who Lu Qian was. Some time ago, the miscarriage had caused quite a stir. Today, he saw that it was also a little girl. Indeed, birds of a feather flocked together. She was as bold as Mu Chi-Chi and dared to do things that were out of line, although he did not think that it was a good thing. Why did you ask me to leave? On the way to the shopping, Lu Qian asked Mu Chi-Chi. Who was that man at the entrance just now? Did you abandon the crown prince? The young master of the Lin family. Mu Chi-Chi brushed it off. And Xiao Xiao was there just now. I just thought that Lin must be a Casanova. So, I subconsciously wanted to protect you from him. With my reputation now, who would come to pick up my used shoes? Lu Qianqian knew herself very well. But she sounded a little sad. Haven't you forgotten about that? How could such a thing be forgotten in a few words? But that did not stop Lu Qianqian from starting over. The two of them had endless topics to talk about when they met, and went shopping for an entire afternoon, and it was precisely because of Muqiqi's agitation at the Lin family's banquet that Mama Xing became even more curious about the child. That afternoon, she went to Jingyun and asked him to arrange for her to meet the child. After all, she had heard that Xing Xiao was taking good care of the child. Jingyun knew that he could not refuse this time, and so told Xing Xiao. But Xing Xiao was not worried at all, and simply nodded calmly in agreement. Since she wants to meet, I'll arrange it for her, young master, aren't you worried at all? Worried about what? Xing Xiao asked in return. Worried that Miss Chi-Chi would expose herself, and that Madame doesn't like her. Whether she likes Chi, or not, we will be together. So, the outcome is not important. As for the other problem, do you think Xiao Qi can't handle it now? Xing Xiao was not worried at all about Mu Chi-Chi's reaction. Since Xing Xiao had put it that way, there was nothing for him to worry about. He just had to do his part, and he could not control anything else. That being said, Mama Xing's wish to meet Miss Chi-Chi had to be communicated with the Shin family. They could not just let her go without a good reason. That would be unruly. Jingyun asked Xing Xiao if he should let the Shin family know about it. Xing Xiao looked at him and asked in return, "What do you think?" "Well, I'll go to the Shin family and tell Elder Shin. Then, I'll arrange a date and place to give Miss Chi-Chi enough time to prepare, and let her relax a little." In any case, Xing Xiao had promised his mother that he would let her meet her daughter-in-law in 3 months. It was a promise fulfilled, although she was not aware of it yet. Chapter 208. Since Xing Xiao's mother wants to meet Mu Chi-Chi, I don't have any objections. Just make the arrangements. As for Mu Chi-Chi, I will remind her not to lose her manners. But as for the Xing family, you must guarantee that my granddaughter will not be mistreated. That was Grandpa Shin's request. Of course, Grandpa Shin. Jingyun nodded and promised Grandpa Shin respectfully. I hope Mu Chi-Chi can keep her composure. It was still unclear whether Mu Chi-Chi could keep her composure. Because she still did not know that she was going to meet her future mother-in-law. But some people in the Shin family were the first to lose their composure. For example, third brother's wife. When third brother's wife knew that Mu Chi-Chi was going to the Xing family, she could not hold back her desire to target Mu Chi-Chi. She said, "How can a bastard with another surname have the right to enjoy the privileges of the Shin family?" She felt that the Xing family wanted to meet Mu Chi-Chi because of the glory that the Shin family brought to Mu Chi-Chi. If Mu Chi-Chi had a good relationship with the Xing family, wouldn't Roy have to listen to Mu Chi-Chi even more when she was in the Shin family? No, I have to go to the Xing family. Third uncle Shin Qinfeng could not help but hate his wife when he heard that. Aren't you overreacting? Mu Chi-Chi is Xing Xiao's savior and Xing Xiao has supported Mu Chi-Chi. Isn't it normal for the Xing family to want to meet Mu Chi-Chi with such a relationship? Why do you have to interfere? I just want to tell Madame Xing how cunning Mu Chi-Chi is. Don't let her lead a wolf into the house. Shin Qinfeng was helpless. He could only wave his hand. Do whatever you want. But if father knows about this, just wait and see. Third brother's wife did not care. She went out of the Shin family's door in the middle of the night. She did not tell anyone where she was going. Because she was going to the Xing family to meet Xing Zhao's mother. Mama Xing was confused. Although she was familiar with the Shin family, it was the first time that someone from the Shin family came to meet her alone. So, she asked someone to take good care of her. A few minutes later, Mama Xing met the third daughter-in-law of the Shin family. According to seniority, Mama Xing was 1 generation older than the third daughter-in-law. But in terms of age, they were about the same. Mama Xing was just a few years older. Suyun, why are you so late? Is there something urgent? When third daughter-in-law saw Mama Xing, she quickly held her hand warmly and said, "Today, when Special Assistant Jing Yun came to the Shin family, I only knew that you wanted to meet that foreign girl in the Shin family. I was afraid that you would be fooled by her, so I quickly came to remind you." "Oh. It's true that I want to see her, but is this girl so annoying? I only hate that I can't make a decision." Step by step, this girl entered the Shin family from the Mu family. She's like a whale eating away at the Shin family. Even if I talk about her for 3 days and 3 nights, I still can't express my dissatisfaction and hatred towards her. Just look at what happened to the Rong family. You will know how cunning she is. She has bought over the second elder of the Shin family. Now, she has the final say in most of the Shin family. In my opinion, she had a motive when she approached your 8th elder. Mama Xing's eyes darkened after she heard that. Tell me slowly. I also want to know if this girl is what the rumors say. Humph. Everyone has been fooled by her. Third daughter-in-law started from the Mu family. First, she said that Mu Chi-Chi had subdued her own sister mercilessly. Not only that, she had ruined her sister's reputation. Now, she was trapped in the slums. She would never be able to make a comeback in her life. After that, Mu Chi-Chi abandoned the Mu family. She occupied the small villa of the Xing family and at the same time, she tried to please Grandpa Shin. She did not want to let go of both sides. Then, Mu Chi-Chi revealed what happened to the Rong family. She forced Rong Junhan and her family into a dead end. Shenlin and his wife got divorced just like that. Second brother and his family were very grateful to her. I was really worried about them. And, I believe you've heard about what happened at the banquet yesterday. She was the one who stirred up trouble and fell into someone else's trap. But, she slandered my daughter and did something to her. I've never seen such a vicious little bitch before. Don't be fooled by this little bitch. Mama Xing smiled and patted third daughter-in-law's hand after she heard that. Don't worry. I know how to deal with her if she's really that kind of person. That's great. I'm just afraid that you'll be as stupid as the Shin family. Third daughter-in-law stayed in the Xing family until late at night. It was obvious that she had complained a lot to Mama Xing. Mama Xing listened to her all the way. She had her own judgment. If Mu Chi-Chi was really that kind of person, the Xing family would not tolerate her. But, what if Mu Chi-Chi was framed? Shenruoi did not see her mother after that afternoon. She only saw her mother coming home late at night. She asked quickly, "Mother, where have you been?" Tsun Suyun dragged Shenruoi to her room. Then, she said to Shenruoi, "I went to the Xing family. Madam Xing wants to see that little bitch. So, I went there to remind her not to be fooled by that little bitch." Shenruoi was stunned when she heard that. She still did not want to let go of the chance to see Mu Chi-Chi. So, she blamed her mother. "Mother, why did you do such a thing? What do you mean by that? That little bitch has been plotting against the Shin family. Isn't that despicable enough? And you're still protecting her. Not only did she steal your limelight at the banquet yesterday, she even framed you. How can you let her step on you?" Was what happened yesterday considered as defamation? In Sun Suyun's heart, it was considered defamation if she could not find any evidence. The Lin family came in the afternoon. They said that it was the Zhong family who did it. Grandpa also apologized to me. Do you think that an apology is enough for defaming you? Rui, don't be silly. Everyone is thinking for themselves now. How can you still be so naive? You'll know how good Muchichi is when she betrays you. Anyway, you're not allowed to interfere in the Xing family's matter. Isn't she going to meet Madame Xing? Let her go. I want to see if Madame Xing will skin her alive. No one knew that Sun Suyun had done such a shameless thing. As an elder, she went to someone else's house and made things difficult for her younger generation. Mama Xing did not tell anyone about it. It was because she wanted to see the real Muchichi. Did Xing Xiao really raise a wolf outside? Muchichi only knew that she was going to meet her future mother-in-law that night. She jumped up from the bed when she heard what Xing Xiao said. Xiao Xiao, can you say that again? Why? Are you afraid of meeting my mother? Chapter 209. Didn't I tell you now? Xing Xiao held her down when he saw her panic. You don't have to be so agitated, that's your mother. That's your mommy. Hi, she's just curious about you, but she doesn't know about our relationship. So, you're not meeting your mother-in-law. You're meeting an elder. Xing Xiao comforted her. I was afraid that you'd be like this. That's why I didn't tell you in advance. Otherwise, you'd be even more nervous. Then, I don't have to prepare anything. Muchichi pointed at her nose and asked. Xing Xiao shook his head. I taught you. Your temper is similar to mine. Do you think my mother can't stand me enough? Do you still need to pretend to be obedient? But I'll still be nervous. You left me unprepared. Why don't you bring me to the cloakroom and help me choose something to wear tomorrow? That way, I'll feel more at ease. Okay. I don't want you to worry all night. With that, Xing Xiao got off the bed first and opened his arms to her. Muchichi stood up from the bed and threw herself into Xing Xiao's arms. She held on to Xing Xiao's narrow waist and let him hug her little butt. They went to the cloakroom and rummaged through the wardrobe. Xing Xiao chose a few dresses for Muchichi. Finally, the little one felt a little more at ease. Tell me quickly. Does your mother have any taboos or preferences? Xing Xiao was helpless. He should have told her tomorrow. She would probably be chattering like this tonight. I told you, you don't have to be so cautious, but I'm afraid she won't like me, she won't. What if? Before Muchichi could finish her sentence, Xing Xiao had already pinned her against the wall and kissed her, using the most ferocious method to shut her up at once. Xiao. Ugh. Muchichi still wanted to say something. But Xing Xiao had already carried her from the cloakroom to the bedroom and put her on the big bed. Xiao Xiao. Muchichi exclaimed. But her white nightgown had already been torn open. She no longer had the time or energy to think about Mama Xing. Xing Xiao did not give her the chance at all. A lively scene unfolded in Xing Xiao's domineering plunder. She could not think about anything else aside from their breathing. This man was so beautiful and charming. How could she resist? Then, Muchichi's back was turned to face Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao slapped Muchichi's little round butt. Silly thing. Even if my mother doesn't like you, I like you. Isn't that enough? I like you. Although they had been together for so long, she had never heard him say something like that. I like you. Muchichi's heart melted in that very moment, leaving only the smile on her face and the warmth in the depths of her heart. After being tormented for the whole night, Muchichi only got the chance to rest when it was almost dawn. But now, she did not even want to move a single strand of her hair. She could only let the man take care of her, protect her, and cherish her. After Xing Xiao was satisfied, he gave Jing Yun a call aside from taking care of the little one. We'll meet at Xing Mansion. Xiao Qi will be nervous. Talk to my mother today and make other arrangements. Yes, young master. Jing Yun received the order and went to Huang Yao early in the morning to look for Mama Xing. He told her about Mu Qiqi's nervousness. Madam, Miss Mu Qiqi has been very nervous since last night. Nervous about what? Can I eat her up? Mama Xing chuckled. Then, she thought of a good idea. If that's the case, tell Mu Qiqi that I'll visit Shin Mansion tonight. I haven't seen old Shin for a long time. Wouldn't it be better for her to be accompanied by her family? Thank you for your understanding, madam. To be honest, Mama Xing did not have to accommodate Mu Qiqi at all. But, she gave in. Soon, the Shin family received the news. A few people in the family were very happy, especially Cin Suyun. Mama Xing moved the place to meet Mu Qiqi from the Xing family to the Shin family. Was it because she did not want Mu Qiqi to dirty her family? Moreover, they could see Mama Xing teaching Mu Qiqi a lesson with their own eyes. That was more worthwhile than anything else. So, Cin Suyun was the happiest one when Mama Xing came to Xing Mansion. Grandpa Shin asked Huang Yu to prepare for it. Don't neglect our guest. Don't worry, father. It's Mu Qiqi's first time meeting someone from the Xing family other than the crown prince. As her second aunt, I will definitely help her. Huang Yu nodded. Ever since the incident with Rong Junhan, Huang Yu had changed. Grandpa Shin was quite satisfied with her. But, he still felt bad when he thought of third aunt. Cin Suyun could not help but mock Huang Yu when she saw Huang Yu agreeing to it. Mu Qiqi is meeting someone from the Xing family. How can we, the Shin family, follow her around? What is this? The Xing family has been on good terms with us for generations. Even if Madame Xing does not want to meet Mu Qiqi, she is still our guest. Of course, we should not neglect her. Just lick that little B*****'*'''''''''''''''''*'*'* feet. Let's see what you can get from it. Don't call her a little B****** every time you open your mouth. Mu Qiqi is eldest brother's daughter. She is the real daughter of the Shin family. TSK. Cin Suyun did not continue to argue with her. Anyway, there would be a good show tonight. Why should she care about it now? Huang Yu was really troubled by Cin Suyun. But, she did not know what kind of dirty things Cin Suyun had done in the dark. Huang Yu did not care about Cin Suyun. Instead, she was preparing for the dinner. On the other hand, Mu Qiqi was a little calmer when she knew that Mama Xing would meet her in the Shin family's guest house. After all, her family was there. So, Mu Qiqi went to the Shin family after her classes. Oh, the most important person of the Shin family is back. Cin Suyun started to mock Mu Qiqi when she saw her. Our whole family has to be busy just so that you can meet your guest. Mu Qiqi, you are really a big shot. Third aunt, you don't have to be so mean. I'm mean. You don't have to be so mean. Cin Suyun walked to Mu Qiqi's ear and smiled slyly. Then, she whispered to Mu Qiqi, do you know that I went to the Xing family just for you yesterday? I told Madame Xing everything about you. Do you know how she reacted when she saw you today? Mu Qiqi was stunned. You are so shameless. Don't worry. They are all compliments. You don't have to thank me. How could she say anything nice? Perhaps, the truth had been twisted beyond recognition. In Madame Xing's heart, she had become a wicked schemer. If Madame Xing hates me tonight, I will tear your mouth apart in front of everyone. Chapter 210. What good will it do to you to pick on me? You are a woman with another surname. You came to the Shin family suddenly. Not only did you not beg for everyone to accept you, but you are also so arrogant. If I don't pick on you, who else should I pick on? Moreover, don't you think that you are snatching Rui's things? Chen Suyun said it as if she was a righteous person. But she could not help it. Mu Chi-chi was the one who stood in Shen Rui's way. Do you know what Rui wants? Mu Chi-chi sneered and asked her back. It's none of your business what Rui wants. Because no matter what she wants, you have to give in to her. Chen Suyun said that she was arrogant. Wasn't she arrogant? Don't say that I don't want to give in to her. Even if I give in to her, Rui has to take it. Then, Mu Chi-chi pushed Chen Suyun away. Just wait and see. Tonight's show is going to be exciting. Chen Suyun's sarcastic voice came from behind. But, Mu Chi-chi went straight into Grandpa Shin's study room. Grandpa, why do you look so dejected? Grandpa Shin asked her. What happened? It's not good for the Xing family to see your face. Mu Chi-chi did not complain in front of Grandpa Shin. Instead, she sent a message to Xing Xiao. Third aunt went to the Xing family to make things difficult for me yesterday. Xiao Xiao, your mother doesn't like me anymore, does she? Xing Xiao read the message and suddenly laughed. What are you afraid of? If my mother doesn't like you, will she make you so sad? Of course she will be sad. Because she is your mother. I want her to like me, don't worry. If someone really does that, you will not be the one who will be embarrassed. Trust me, okay? Xing Xiao told Mu Chi-chi confidently. She is my mother. Don't you think I don't know her? All right. I trust you. Since it had happened and Chen Suyun was so shameless, she could only deal with it as it came. But, after this, she would settle the score with third aunt. Thinking of this, Mu Chi-chi cheered up. It was not worth it to let such a piece of trash spoil her mood. The others in the Shin family knew nothing about it. But Mu Chi-chi was not the only one who was nervous when they knew that Mama Xing was coming to the Shin family. It was because Shen Rui wanted to leave a good impression in front of Mama Xing. She liked Xing Xiao. If she wanted to be with Xing Xiao, she must be liked by the Xing family. So, she believed that she needed to be liked by Mama Xing more than Mu Chi-chi. So, before Mama Xing came to the Shin family, Shen Rui locked herself in her room and dressed herself up. After a while, she walked out of the room. Chen Suyun was shocked. Daughter, why are you dressed like this? Didn't you say that an esteemed guest was coming? So, I dressed myself up. Shen Rui turned around in front of Chen Suyun. Am I beautiful? Of course it is. Chen Suyun sighed. With her daughter's figure, appearance, and talent, how could she lose to Mu Chi-chi? But that little slut had gotten grandfather Shin's favor. She really didn't know if the Shin family was blind or not. At the moment, Shen Rui was wearing a long yellow dress. It accentuated her good figure. With her exquisite makeup and luxurious jewelry, she looked no different from a celebrity. But, it was really exaggerated to dress like this at home. But, Chen Suyun felt that it was not wrong for her daughter to dress like this in order to outshine Mu Chi-chi. Soon, Shen Rui went to the living room of the Shin family. The others in the Shin family felt strange when they saw her like this. But, Mu Chi-chi understood why Shen Rui did that. She wanted to leave a deep impression in front of Xiao Xiao's mother. Chi-chi, look at your cousin. She looks like she is going to walk on the red carpet. Huang Yu smiled beside Mu Chi-chi's ear. Look at you. You look so plain. Mu Chi-chi looked at herself. She was wearing a short white dress. Although it was not gorgeous, she looked cute and cute. She smiled too. I think this is good, it is good. There is a saying that goes too much is as bad as not enough. Chen Suyun knew that Mu Chi-chi and Huang Yu were talking about her daughter. Why? Was she jealous? Muchichi did not bother about her. Anyway, third aunt was thinking about how to watch a good show the whole night. But, according to Xiao Xiao, she was afraid that she would not be able to watch a good show. Instead, she would be the one in the show. Soon, it was 7:00 in the evening. Huang Yu had asked the chef to prepare the exquisite dishes. They were waiting for Mama Xing to come so that they could have dinner. At that moment, the whole family was waiting in the living room. It was because they were going to welcome the distinguished guests. Mama Xing was very punctual. At 7:15 p.m., her car drove into the Shen family's courtyard. She brought a gift with her. She was very thoughtful. Grandpa Shen. Mama Xing went forward and shook hands with Grandpa Shen. It's been a long time. How are you? It was the first time Muchichi met Xiao Xiao's mother. Her first impression of her was that she was very elegant. She was wearing a cheongsam and she behaved very well. She exuded a noble aura from her bones. It was not something that ordinary people could compare with. Moreover, Xiao Xiao looked like his mother. Her hair was medium length but it was slightly curly. Her skin was fair and supple. She was so charming at such a young age. One could imagine how good Xiao Xiao's mother was at maintaining her looks. The Shen family was busy greeting Mama Xing. Shen Ruoyi walked to Mama Xing and held her hand. Auntie, you haven't seen Ruoyi for a long time. What auntie? You are so rude. Mama Xing was Shen Ruoyi's grandmother. But, auntie, you are so young. How can I call you grandmother? Shen Ruoyi immediately refuted her grandpa. Your mouth is still so sweet. Mama Xing patted the back of Shen Ruoyi's hand and praised her. Then, Mama Xing noticed Muchichi who was standing beside Grandpa Xing. She was the legendary little girl. You are Chi-Chi, right? Chi-Chi, greet her. Grandpa Xing said immediately. Even Xing Xiao has to be disciplined. You should be polite too. Call her grandmother. Muchichi could not bring herself to call her grandmother. In the end, she could only call her beautiful auntie. Why are you like Rui? Why are you so rude? Grandpa Shin could not help but criticize her. Old Shin, please don't make things difficult for the children. Mama Xing said. Then, she waved at Muchichi. Come here. Let me see what kind of little girl you are. Why is Xing Xiao so concerned about you? Actually, Muchichi was really nervous. Her palms were sweaty. But, Mama Xing was not an ordinary person. She did not show any fierce expression from the beginning to the end. Muchichi walked over and stood in front of Mama Xing. Mama Xing reached out and stroked Muchichi's hair. She smiled. This little girl is really smart. Her eyes are so clear. Do I need you to teach me? Afraid that I'll be tricked. My son has been in Jianchuan for so many years, has he ever been deceived by anyone? If he can trust someone, it's enough to prove Muchichi's character. Don't tell me that I don't even trust my own son and trust you. Do you think that everyone is like you? That they will fall into your trap as long as they provoke you? Actually, I shouldn't say anything in such an occasion in the Shin family. After all, my identity is not suitable. But, as my junior and Muchichi's elder, what did you do? What did you say? What did you say? What did you do? What did you say? Cin Suyun's face darkened. Because Mama Xing's words were starting to sound harsh. You keep saying what Muchichi did to you and how she bullied you. But, from what I see, you're always trying to sow discord. How is it possible for you to be bullied? Cin Suyun clenched her fists after she heard the lecture. She sounded a little angry. I'm just being kind. Is it worth for you to join hands to scold me? It's better to be sensible. After Mama Xing said that, she turned around and looked at Grandpa Shin. Grandpa Shin, please don't blame me for being harsh today. Grandpa Shin waved his hand after he heard that. It's just that we're not strict enough. Mama Xing did not say anything more about Sun Suyun. She turned around and looked at Mu Chi-Chi. She said, if you're bullied like this again in the future, you can tell Jingyun. Beautiful aunt will help you to seek justice. Okay. Mu Chi-Chi nodded her head. Sun Suyun was furious. But she could not do anything. She could only stare at Mu Chi-Chi fiercely. You're such a disgrace. Get out of here. Grandpa Shin did not want Sun Suyun to stay at the dining table. He did not want to spoil everyone's mood. So, he asked Sun Suyun to leave. Sun Suyun was embarrassed and angry now. So, she could only leave the dining table. Shinrui, who was sitting at the side, did not react at all. She did not say a word. Because she felt that her mother had embarrassed her. Whatever she said now would only make her feel disgusted. But, it was all her mother's fault. She did not live up to her expectations. Why could she not control her mouth? I did not expect that third daughter-in-law would go to someone else's house and gossip about them. I don't know where to put my face now. Mama Xing could understand it. No matter from which angle she looked at it, it was not wrong. Old Shin, Chi-Chi is under Xing Zhao's protection. So, as a mother, I will not cause trouble for my son. So, I will take care of Chi-Chi more. It's not appropriate for me to interfere with the Shin family's affairs as an outsider. So, if Sun Suyun did not come to the Xing family today, I would not have said so much. Chi-Chi saved Xing Zhao's life. So, she is the Xing family's benefactor. So, no matter what happens in the future, if Chi-Chi is in trouble and needs help from the Xing family, just let me know. Grandpa Shin laughed after he heard that. Who would dare to bully her when the Xing family is protecting her? She is a smart girl. Maybe she knows that her backer is here today. So, she did not say anything. Grandpa, all right. I won't laugh at you. Grandpa Shin waved his hand. Then, he said to Mama Xing, eat more. If you want to see this child in the future, you can ask her to go to the Xing family. You don't have to be so polite like today. Mama Xing laughed too. She looked like a heroine. Mu Chi-Chi looked at Xiao Xiao's mother from the side. She felt that Mama Xing must be an extraordinary woman to be able to raise a son like Xiao Xiao. Chapter 212. Soon, the dinner ended in a joyful atmosphere. The Shin family sent Mama Xing to the door. Of course, Mu Chi-Chi was one of them. She really liked Xiao Xiao's mother as much as she liked Xing Xiao. So, this was fate. Somehow, Mama Xing felt a strong sense of love for Mu Chi-Chi. It was as if she was doting on her own son. Mu Chi-Chi had a tenacity that refused to admit defeat. It was obvious that it came from Xing Zhao's teachings. She knew her son best. It was not easy for the little girl. So, she was on Mu Chi-Chi's side tonight. Another reason was that Sun Suyun was really annoying. Alright. Let's stop here. Jianchuan is such a small place. It's easy for us to meet each other. Then, beautiful aunt, please be careful on your way home. Xiao Qin, I won't send you off. Mama Xing shook her head. She pointed at the car that was parked in front of Xing Mansion. Please wait. Chi-Chi, let Xing Xiao bring you to visit Xing Mansion if there's a chance. Okay. Mama Xing smiled. Then, she got into the car and left. At that moment, she was not suspicious of her son at all. Because she had always believed that a witch would fall from the sky to subdue someone like Xing Xiao. He would not be interested in someone like Mu Qiqi, who would let him train her. Therefore, Mama Xing did not think too much about their relationship. She would not know that her son had another family outside. Mu Qiqi felt a little guilty when she saw Mama Xing leaving. Xiao Xiao's mother was such a good person. But, she bit the hand that fed her. She dragged Xiao Xiao into hell. If their relationship was exposed one day, what would happen to the people who cared about them? Xing Xiao's mother is still a heroine even after so many years. Grandpa Xin could not help but sigh. Xiao Qi, you will have one more support in the future. Behind them, Shen Ruoyi's face turned pale. She did not expect that Mama Xing would not look at her at all. Her attention was all on Mu Qiqi. She knew that her mother was in trouble tonight. So, she could not say anything to please her. But even so, she was still better than Mu Qiqi. Luckily, the Xing family is knowledgeable. They will not be fooled by a few words. Otherwise, it would be Qin Suyun's game tonight. Huang Yu put her hands behind her back and sneered. Father, I really don't understand. Why does third daughter-in-law always treat Mu Qiqi as a thorn? What did she do to her? Grandpa Xin could not hold back his anger anymore. He walked back to the living room and said to Shen Ruoyi, ask your mother to come here. Grandpa Qiqi. Shen Ruoyi's face turned pale. But she could only do as she was told. When she arrived at her mother's house, she pushed the door open and told her mother, Mom, Grandpa is looking for Qiqi. Don't you want to settle the score with me because of what happened just now? Qin Suyun sneered. She got up from the sofa and walked to the living room of the Shen family. Qiqi of the family. Shen, Qiqi, Xing and Zhao's and Qi, Xing's and Zhao's Qi of Qiqi of the Yen and said. Do you still need to be interrogated after what you did? Grandpa Xing placed his hands on his knees and snorted coldly at third daughter-in-law. For the sake of future troubles, let's make our stand clear today. What exactly do you want? Let's make it clear to each other. Dad, are you trying to scare me? Qin Suyun tilted her head and looked at Mu Qiqi. She walked up to her. The Shen family has been in a lot of trouble recently because of this bastard. Who is to blame for what happened to the Shen family? You have a share in it too. Grandpa Shen shouted angrily, if you want to stay in this house, then stay. If you don't want to stay, then get out. Let me be frank with you today. If you do something like this again in the future and cause trouble outside, then get out of the Shen family immediately. I'm not joking with you. I know what you're thinking. Let me tell you, Qin Suyun. If you continue to go against me, you'll get nothing in the end. Qin Suyun tried hard to hold back her tears. But she could not say anything. It was because she knew that if she spoke now, it would only benefit second brother's family and that bastard. Humph. She would not admit defeat. Although she could not say anything, she could still look at Mu Qiqi with hatred. Huang Yu saw the scary look in her eyes. So, she dragged Mu Qiqi away. Xiao Qi, ignore her. Go back and rest. I'll send you home. It's okay, second aunt. I can go back by myself. Mu Qiqi shook her head. But before that, Mu Qiqi still had something to say to Qin Suyun. Third aunt, since you've said so much today, I'll say something too. I can tolerate you, but it doesn't mean that I'm afraid of you. I've dealt with all kinds of bitches before. Why should I be afraid of you? What happened today is the last time. If something like this happens again in the future, I won't need Grandpa to say anything. I'll make you suffer. Based on what you said, I'm just a bastard. Since I have nothing, I'm not afraid of going against you. I can lose everything. But what about you? Chen Suyun smirked. She looked at Muchichi mockingly. Obviously, it was a provocation. Let's wait and see. Muchichi did not stay in the Shin family for long. After she informed Grandpa Shin, Huang Yu sent her to the door. But before she left, Muchichi asked Huang Yu, second aunt, did third aunt go to the hospital recently? Or, does she have a medical background? How do you know? Her big brother is a famous surgeon. So, it's easy for her to get the medicine. So, do you still suspect that it's third aunt and Shinrui who did it? Huang Yu asked. Second aunt, I hope that you can keep an eye on this matter. If it's really the mother and daughter, I'll make them pay for it. Don't worry. Huang Yu nodded. Go back and rest early. Thank you, second aunt. Muchichi turned around and left the Shin family. Third aunt and her family were crying in the room. Especially Chen Suyun. She was so furious that she almost fainted this time. Not only her, but Shinrui also realized that what her mother said made sense. Muchichi's status in the Shin family was seriously threatened by her. As long as Muchichi was around, no one would see Shinrui. She was obviously more outstanding than Muchichi. She could not spoil Muchichi like this in the future. After the chaos of the day, Muchichi threw herself into Xing Zhao's arms when they reached home. Xing Zhao put down the documents and hugged Muchichi. He kissed and comforted her. Chapter 213. Xing Zhao answered softly. Your mother is such a good person. But I lied to her. I feel so sorry. Muchichi buried her head in Xing Zhao's arms and said, I like her very much, just like how I like you. Xing Zhao hugged Muchichi tightly when he heard that. He said gently, do you think she has never been through a lot? When the Xing family was being threatened, she even raised a knife to negotiate with them. Do you think she will still be afraid of you? At that, Muchichi poked her head out of his arms. Your mother has such a tough side to her. I will tell you about it later. Xing Zhao kissed the top of her head and patted her butt. Let's go and take a bath. Muchichi stood up from his arms. Then, she turned around and asked, aren't you coming with me? Xing Zhao's eyes brightened. He put down the documents in his hands and stood up. Then, he hugged Muchichi horizontally. Since the little one had invited him so warmly, he would certainly not reject her. Then, the two of them put on a show in the bathroom. After they were done, they lay in the bathtub. Muchichi leaned on Xing Zhao's chest and laughed. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at my cousin, Shinrui. She dressed up like a celebrity tonight. I know she wants to show off to your mother, but my mother will not even look at her. Xing Zhao half closed his eyes. He looked sexy and lazy. So, I told you not to worry. Muchichi hugged Xing Zhao tightly, as if afraid that such happiness would disappear. It was precisely because Xing Zhao's mother was a good person that she felt even more guilty. And the more guilty she felt, the more she cherished her happiness. Xing Zhao felt that Muchichi was hugging him harder. He guessed that she must be thinking about her mother again. If you keep thinking about it, I will have to do it myself. Muchichi shook her head when she heard that. No, I'm tired. If you really want to know how my family will react when they know about our relationship, you can find someone to do the experiment. Who? Your father. As Xing Zhao spoke, he took out a towel and carried Muchichi out of the bathtub. The weather was getting colder. He did not want his little one to catch a cold. But what if Dad tells Grandpa? Do you think someone as smart as your father would do such a stupid thing? Mu-Chi-Chi shook her head. If I were 20 instead of 18, I might tell Dad that I'm in love with you and we're living together. But I'm too young, and I don't have enough bargaining chips. Since it's useless to talk about these things, why are you still thinking so much? Aren't you afraid of exhausting yourself to death? Xing Xiao hooked her chin and kissed her gently. What should I do, little one? Although you're very tired, I still want you. Looking at Mu-Chi-Chi's reaction, Xing Xiao suddenly regretted arranging this meeting to let Mu-Chi-Chi know what kind of person her mother was. The burden on the little thing's mind was already very heavy, and now, with the addition of guilt, he was afraid that he would soon be unable to straighten his back. He was not afraid that the little one would give up, but he felt sorry for the shackles that the little one had to carry. So, the first thing he needed to do now was to get rid of Shenruoi. So, the next morning, Xing Xiao called Jing Yun. Invite Shenruoi to work in Huangyao. She doesn't care about the position or the job. But, let her be the center of gossip, and she won't be able to get in touch with me. Young master, this is, make her completely, give up on me. Always arrange some good scenes for her, so that she will be completely disillusioned with me. I understand. Jing Yun nodded. In other words, he wanted to ruin the image of the devil Xing Xiao in Shenruoi's heart. That's easy. Please wait for my good news, young master. Go and hint to Mom, so that no one in Huangyao will trouble you when you're working. Jing Yun received the order and went to look for Mama Xing. He told her that Xing Xiao had asked her to arrange an acquaintance to work in Huangyao, but it would not take long. Mama Xing frowned and asked Jing Yun for the reason. Sure enough, Jing Yun hinted to her. Madam, when you went to the Shin family yesterday, did you notice anything unusual besides Miss Chi-Chi? For example, someone is trying to please you or something like that. Are you talking about Rui? Is she? Mama Xing did not continue, but Jing Yun took over the conversation. Although I'm not sure, young master does not want to cause any trouble. So, I have to deal with it immediately. Okay. Mama Xing nodded. Just do it. I'll inform the department. But, don't let it affect Huangyao too much. Don't worry, madam. I know what to do. Xing Xiao's purpose was to solve this problem. But, Shenruoi did not know that she was in someone else's game. She was waiting for Jing Yun to invite her. Then, she would be so happy that she would go crazy. Of course, Xing Xiao would report it to Mu-Chi-Chi in advance. Before Mu-Chi-Chi went to school, he hugged her from behind and said, Shenruoi, I've arranged for her to work in Huangyao. Ha! Mu-Chi-Chi was puzzled. Don't worry. She won't have any chance to get close to me. But, she will know a lot of gossip about me. Soon, she will hate me. She might even be afraid of me. Mu-Chi-Chi understood what Xing Xiao meant. She nodded. Then, don't be too cruel. I can imagine how Shenruoi will be dancing in joy. I just want to tell you in advance. Don't mess with me because of this. Mess with me. Mu-Chi-Chi wiped her face and pretended to be ignorant. Xiao Xiao, you are the smartest man in the world. She was good at making people fall for her, she was the one who made him fall for her. In fact, Jing Yun was a man of action. He got the order from Xing Xiao in the morning. He went to the Shin family in the afternoon and invited Shenruoi to work for him. Of course, Shenruoi's major was useless in Huangyao. So, Jing Yun racked his brains and thought of many ways to find a department that was suitable for Shenruoi. When Shenruoi knew about it, she was really excited, like what Mu-Chi-Chi said. She did not expect that happiness would come so soon. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.